not to tinker or fumble at the bar. Oh shoot. He put his phone away right when he got up.
Due to popular demand, we will not be showing the Alabama game. We will be playing the Holy Cross Navy game, so no Alabama game on today. Just want to let you guys know. Oh, I'm just teasing you guys. I'm just messing with you. If you guys saw the Alabama game is coming up, if you guys have any requests for new games coming on as they come on at 3:30, and you want to switch the TV, come on and see your old boy Dave Delicious in the DJ booth, and I'll do my best to get your game where you need it. I'll do my best. Can't make any promises. The only promise is that Holy Cross is coming right up.
Yeah, Hoyt.
I do love counter movements.
He just kind of said, hey, you guys take it over there.
I figured as much.
That's a Hoyt response right there.
Yeah, I'll be doing, and then I guess I'm doing the Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard, and then we have one live read, the conference championship game day experience at Sport and Social. Do you have that one?
Hold on. Looking at another running back here, and I wanted somebody that has, and I can't stress this enough, no competition for touches, just no viable competition.
Wow.
I mean, he is just the guy.
You were about to experience the barrage.
Clearly the best back on his team. The bar is just way, way low. It's Kenyon Drake, of course, in Miami. He's the guy, RB14 last year. He's going to see some touchdown regression this year for sure. On one hand, in terms of touchdown rate, but on the other hand, I mean, Adam Gase never ran at the goal line, so maybe Drake will get some run in that area. But he is their best back. He's healthy now. He's going to be ready for week 1. He's my guy.
I'm sure at the goal line they're going to go with a guy that isn't the 6'4", 250-pound guy.
They're going to go with a guy that can actually break tackles.
No, interesting.
For Matthew, Starfania, Mike, Kyle, Keith, Daniel, Tom, Pierre, Damien, I'm Field. Talk to you guys Tuesday.
Peace out.
So, Rhino, what'd you say about the reads?
Are you paying?
The only one we have the conference championship game day experience for Sport and Social.
Dramatically in the past few years.
And Barbara sent me nothing.
Yeah, and I don't have it either. Scoreboards.
Yes, as long as you do those within the updates, that's
can
fine.
obtain $5,000 of
So
I'll just give them a couple of mentions just to thank them for coming on, but I'll let you just handle that
for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change
what
for
is
the
the
next
out
20
time for the
years.
show for
If
the
you're a
Braves
smoker,
game?
we have great rates available for you as well.
They go at 6:05, so we'll go out probably normal.
Above.
Okay, so just break it.
Yeah, we're going out at 6, so I'll give you the time at the end when I figure out the timing.
1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950.
I hate that when the lesser team
Rates
is
and
close and
availability
they don't
may vary
score
by state.
early,
Sample
like
rate
Duke
quotes
has
for
scored
preferred
first.
non-tobacco underwriting.
Or even Boise State, they end up losing the game. They had a couple of chances early. You got to get those points early.
That's why I love the Perks Plus checking account from Georgia's own credit union. With Perks Plus checking, I get all the features I need from a checking account, including easy ATM access, bill pay, and mobile check deposit. Plus, I get extra perks like cell phone repair protection and more, all for one low monthly fee. To open your Perks Plus checking account, visit georgiaZone.org today. I'm Chuck Dowdle, and I'm one of Georgia's own.
Subject to credit approval. Visit georgiazone.org for complete details.
Welcome to the Summer of Audi sales event. John Kincaid and my friends at Audi Atlanta, and they're offering you a great deal right now on a 2019 Audi Q5, which is what I'm driving right now from Audi Atlanta. You can lease a well-equipped 2019 Audi Q5 for just $379 a month. You're not going to find a better experience anywhere. The best people, the best selection, all backed by the Jim Ellis promise. The offer includes Audi Care scheduled maintenance, and you're going to love the Q5. I love driving it.
Hey, are y'all both good in your
it's
ears?
Functional and
Yeah, ears are good. Okay, cool. Just one check.
Offers on a 36-month lease, 7,500 miles a year, $379 a month with $29.95 due at signing. Example stock A, $16,826. MSRP $45,990. It excludes tax, tag, title, and state fees, and it's available through August 31st with approved credit. So take a look now at the Audi Q5 at AudiAtlanta.com, where you window shop. But better yet, stop in for that VIP shopping experience. It's awesome on Peachtree Industrial, just inside the perimeter.
Hey guys, the Matt's back again. Matt Chernoff and Matt Breda of Breda Pest Management talking about protecting your home from termites.
We are a liquid-only company. Termador is the only product we use to treat and protect homes. I'm just not a believer in bait stations. You rely too heavily on technicians to change out the bait based on their findings. But the slam dunk for us, Matt, if you do have active termites, that bait station company, you know what they're going to do? They're going to use the liquid, the same product we use, Termador, to eliminate the termites. So why in the world wouldn't you protect every inch of your house with the liquid? The cold hard truth, it's so much easier to train a technician to place bait stations 20 feet apart around your home. It's much more difficult to train a technician to understand foundation types and how to apply the liquid correctly. That's why at Breda, we're a Monday through Friday company. We put our employees first and not profit. We want to protect your home the same way we protect our own.
When it comes to protecting my home from termites, I'm protected by the best. That's Breda. Get online today at BredaPest.com. It's spelled B-R-E-D-A, BredaPest.com.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better because we understand mistakes happen.
Cappuccino for Dave?
Yep. I overdrafted. This is going to cost me $43.
Ouch, that's steep, even for us.
At Fifth Third Bank, we've got your back, which is why we give you extra time to avoid an overdraft.
Girl is gone.
Yeah,
she
that's
didn't seem
way
like she was
better.
happy.
This is banking. A Fifth Third
So-
better.
Fifth Third free checking
Made
plus extra
very,
time is available in
very good
Florida, Georgia,
beverages.
Tennessee, and North Carolina. Fifth Third Bank, member FDIC.
The most in-depth college football coverage in the South. WCNN North Atlanta.
All right, stand by.
Station, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM. It's College Football Saturday, and The Fan has game day covered with The Fan's College Game Day. Live from Sports and Social at the Battery, Atlanta. The 680 college staff is live all afternoon, bringing you up-to-the-minute scores and breakdowns of all the biggest action on the biggest college football station in the country. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Good Saturday afternoon. We made it, y'all. It is time for college football. Week 0 is over. It is week 1 of college football, and we are happy to share this momentous day with you. Good afternoon. Home team Brandon Leak here with Joe Hamilton as we broadcast live College Game Day live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta on the Fan, 680 93.7 FM. Also a special, I'm going to call it a quadcast. As Joe, our brothers in Dickey Broadcasting Radio Arms are up in Nashville for the Nashville takeover as the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores, and Carlos Medina and our man Brian Hoyt are
Carlos and Hoyt
live on the scene in Nashville. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing this fine Saturday afternoon?
I can't hear a damn thing. It is so loud up here
I'll put it this way, boys. We are right down here on Broadway, and it couldn't be better as far as the scene, and there's a ton of Georgia fans that have taken over Nashville.
It doesn't look like Broadway, home team. It looks like Broad Street in Athens, if that makes sense. Like, this literally looks like Athens. It does not look anything like Nashville right now.
Joe, I have a feeling the way Hoyt is seeing things is going to be a little bit different from how we would see them.
I'm a little concerned because I hear a little bit of cracking in his voice.
Well, he's been calling the dogs.
He's been calling, and he's got some more dogs to call along the way, so
He
he's
does.
going to have to save that voice a little bit. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good, Joe Ham. Here's the other thing. If I say there's 10,000 Georgia fans here or 50,000, you're going to have to divide it by 2 because I'm seeing double at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. I mean, I tell you what, you guys let us know when you want us to put this bar on fire. We're at the Valentine right here on Broadway. The first level, here's the funny part. They told everybody we'll take 100 Georgia fans on the top level, and if we get overflowed, we'll start opening the other levels. We're already 3 levels deep for a 4-level place. Not a problem.
Dogs not playing around. We'll set the scene for us. The Valentine, a very good place up there in Nashville. The Dogs have an easy jaunt up the road for a game that they get to see opening week. Set the scene for us, not just today, but the last couple of days as Georgia fans were filing in up there in Nashville.
Well, the belief is going to be that this is going to be a season where you're competing not just for a place in the playoffs, but a national championship. So much of what happened over the last several years, 2017 was a revelation where you said, okay, we had a really fortunate year. This is how things played out. 2018, you just missed out losing in the SEC championship game. Georgia fans are now expecting, and they're showing up in numbers with the belief that they are one of the best teams in the country. Now, Clemson and Alabama deserve a ton of respect, absolutely. But when it comes to teams like Oklahoma, Ohio State, Georgia feels like they have grown beyond them, that this is all about Georgia and making it to the most critical games of the season moving forward.
Today is absolutely, it's not about the Vanderbilt game. Today is not about beating Vanderbilt and we need to set a home field advantage here in Nashville. Today is a culmination of Georgia fans waiting, whatever it was, 300 days since that last, I'm not even going to count the Texas game. I'll say the last defeat in December against Alabama, waiting for their shot to get another chance at a national title. Because, and Joe, you and I will fight to the end of the days.
Not physically.
That's not physically. No, emotionally. You break my heart every day. But that's ultimately why every Georgia fan is here. It's to celebrate we are back. College football is back. And, hey, if it's not this year, when the hell? Like, we always – you guys give us a hard time. Everybody gives Georgia fans a hard time about saying this is our year, this is our year. What's not in line right now for the Georgia Bulldogs this year? Like, everything is in line, whether it's the quarterback being an upperclassman now, whether it's the running backs and Zeus being healthy, the offensive line being the best you've ever had in history. Everything is in line. It's the most talented team overall, and I'm talking first string through the third string. Georgia has had that I can ever remember. Everything is in line, so we're all up here celebrating and the country music playing, and there's a big tray of shots right there.
Joe Hamilton is a big Jake Fromm fan. You like the way that Kirby Smart has set the motion. However, there are questions, and, I understand how Bulldog fans can feel like, you know what, this really, not just this is the year, this really might be the year with the additions that you made over the last 3 years, with the extra game time that guys have gotten on the field, with the maturity of the offensive line, with Kirby being settled in, with your quarterback who never hurts you in a football game. You're a big Kirby and a big Jake Fromm fan. What are your
Coach Kirby?
You're right. I'm
Coach
sorry.
Smart.
I did do a little bit better about that. I'm a little disrespectful. Coach Smart.
Yeah, put that in front of
Coach Smart, I apologize. What are your thoughts as they open up the season opener? Vanderbilt, a team that they should win and they should smash today, but there are other things besides just winning the game. Also, it does matter how you look.
You know what? The expectations are real, and every Georgia fan that think is, national championship or bust, I feel them wholeheartedly, because I wouldn't be saying or asking the question, why not? But the question I want, Carlos and Hoyt to answer is, how does that look when you go through a 12-game season when you're saying the only real goal is SEC championship, Alabama, or national championship, Alabama or Clemson? What about today? Are we going to see Coley today or throughout the whole week open up the playbook? Is it still vanilla, using the running game and, plowing, or depending on that, massive offensive line?
That's what I'm for.
Thank you.
Are you going to get George Pickens and those guys involved? And I'm not talking involved from Vanderbilt or maybe Texas A&M and those guys, Notre Dame. I'm talking about long run when you're talking about national championship or SEC championship against the big boys. How early would Coach Coley, go away from that? Is he trying to, evolve into that? I don't know, because Hoyt, you looking at it that y'all must improve, but do you want to improve as far as expanding, or keep doing the same thing as far as running the ball and the same, defensive style that y'all have been going out there with?
There's a lot of points you made there, Joe. The first one I'm going to say is, and I'm going to talk like a fan. I'm not going to talk like Kirby Smart, or I'm one of the
Coach
70
Smart,
plus.
please,
Coach Smart. No, he's a friend of mine. I call him Kirby. It's my guy. I'm not going to talk like him. I'm a fan, so I can say this. As a Georgia fan, we lose to Alabama, and you wait basically 365 days till you play them again, and that's weird to say. Like, today is just another week before we get to the Benz, and we find out what our season's going to be, and that sucks as a fan.
Okay.
To go back what you were talking about with Coley, though, here's what I want to see out of Coley. I want to see those young wide receivers get some touches. I want to see Fromm get out of this game maybe in the third or fourth quarter, hopefully, and get some Stenson Bennett back there. And then overall, I don't want to see DeAndre Swift touch the ball this game, and I know that's not the nice thing to say or the right thing to say. I don't want to see Swift touch the ball for the next 3 weeks until we play Notre Dame. That's just me. If you've got some sort of injury, because how long did it take last year for us to see a healthy DeAndre Swift? Kentucky game.
That's true.
And that's a problem. So if I don't need you, run Harrion, run Zeus. If Cook ain't healthy, you can easily win this game. You may not cover, but you can easily win this game with those two guys running the rock.
Yeah, Georgia should be winning by 3 touchdowns at least. They should be winning going away, and there are bigger fish to fry. Being a little bit haughty, being a little bit more of a fanalist, there are only 4 games that the Bulldogs could possibly lose. And when I say possibly, just because they could. There are only 4 games they could lose. They could lose to Notre Dame because Notre Dame could be able to compete. They could lose to Auburn because Auburn's defense might be able to do a little bit of something. They could lose in the SEC championship game, and they could lose a college playoff game. Other than that, they don't have many games they could lose.
You know who he didn't mention, by the way?
Texas
He
A&M?
didn't mention a single East team, by the way. Kirby,
No.
the last 2 years,
No.
undefeated against the East.
Well, I did see a number, and I believe it's indicative of where Georgia fans are at and how the season's going to go. Georgia has such a long winning streak in the SEC East right now. It is the longest since the division was created in 1992. So you go into a season basically saying, I'm not worried about Florida. I ain't worried about Missouri. I'm not worried about any of those schools out there. It just strictly comes down to my season starts in the SEC championship game, and obviously playing Notre Dame and a couple of those minefields out there.
Well, I hate to put it this way, guys, but I think we are looking so far ahead that we forgot about some of the things you must work on that comes inherently with a young wide receiving core. Now you're going to have to be more diverse when you go against some Florida. You can't just depend on that that offensive line and say, I'm going to maul you running the ball 35, 36 times and passing it only 20 to 25 times. Even Notre Dame, and I'm talking even Texas A&M. So therefore, you're going to have some cohesiveness with that wide receiver core. Has spread, Fromm spread it out a little bit because you're going to eventually have to win games that way. And I know you can turn on the switch. That's when you have rapport with somebody for a whole season. I think you're going to have to be in a situation that you're working on your passing game and not going away from the Georgia Bulldogs history and tradition, but you must evolve more as a passing team, more so to be able to compete and get to where y'all want to go, in my opinion. And it can't be just done on the SEC championship game or in that game on the national stage.
No, and Joe Ham, I completely agree with you. And here's where I even back exactly what you say. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter week 1. It won't matter week 2. It might not matter week 5. But at some point, you're going to run into an opponent that's just as good as you and starts removing things that you do well. You wants to make you play left-handed. And the fact of the matter is, as of now, if there's a team that's good enough to make Georgia and take away elements of their running game, they have to develop. Those kids have to develop at throwing the football. That is going to be one of those huge keys. So whether it's the George Pickens of the world, the Tyler Simmons of the world, somebody starts making plays down the field, that absolutely, it's not about week 1 and week 2. Right. That's about later in the year when you start making plays and show everybody that I can do this.
Exactly, Los. And, even me thinking as a coach now, it's hard just to turn that on when you really need it down the road. So any opportunity that you can get, giving those guys a little bit more week by week, seeing how much they can take and digest and keep on building, and then you'll feel much more comfortable in the big games when you need them, that you'll know who Jake Fromm's go-to guy is. Because who is it over the summer? Tyler Simmons, maybe Demetrius Robertson, maybe George Pickens or one of those guys. I don't know who he spent the most time with in summer workout, talking in the locker room. That's yet to be seen, in my opinion. Maybe Landers. I don't know.
The one thing that gives me confidence more than anything, and I know the wide receiving core is young, but I know it's talented too. And if there's one place on an offense that I want less experience and more talent, it's at the wideout position. We've seen.
Let me bring this up, and I want to direct this to Joe Ham.
Yes, sir.
Because as a quarterback, sometimes the go-to guy isn't the best guy on the field, but it's a guy that you know where he is, what he's going to do, how he's going to execute the route, and that's exactly what you go to.
Exactly. And when do you get it? Los, that's what I'm talking about. When do you get it?
And we know. A guy like Javon Wims against Notre Dame, Javon Wims stood out. Fromm took his second start against Notre Dame. Fromm built a chemistry with that guy in 3 games, and he knew it was his go-to guy. And that was a guy in Fromm that had not taken a snap with the first team early on in the season. So he built chemistry in 3 games. I'm not worried about chemistry when it comes to these young guys and Jake Fromm. He said, I can find a guy. I can build chemistry with just about anybody. It was JJ last year. It was Javon Wims the year before. He can do that in 2 or 3 games. I'm not worried about that part.
Well, we'll get more into this, and we'll certainly get a lot of updates from around the college football world. Rhino back at the studio will give us an update, and it's now sponsored by our very good friends at Georgia United Credit Union. He will bring you the scoreboard as we already have a shocker.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, my goodness. There's a man.
Which one?
Oh, my goodness.
Please tell us, because we're in a room where we're getting some games, like we've got Alabama and Duke 0-0, but we're missing out on some of the craziness.
I'll just shout out the tune. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, Florida State went down to Boise State
came back
in Tallahassee.
No, guys, we left the previous place we were at, and they were in control.
Oh, unbelievable. Points, yards, plays left out on the field. Boise State kept chopping wood, kept plugging away, got a little mo on their side, converted in the red zone, converted inside the 5, and they come out of Tallahassee 36-31 winners today.
Is there a worse kick to the beanbag? Taggart had his year last year, but you know what? It's year 1. We're going to build off that. You're going to buy into my system.
We're going to be better year 2.
Guys, we're building in during the spring and the fall and everything else, and then you lose that first one. And Joe, you played, so we'll ask you, do you not just start looking around the locker room guys, maybe it's not us. Maybe it's that guy.
Don't
right
say that,
there.
Joe.
When do you start questioning the coaching staff after buying in the entire time? All right, and I know we'll get into tech in a little bit, but when I saw Jeff Collins doing that, dapping everybody up and giving them hugs and, hey, you gave your best today, I buy into that, man. You go down to Boise like that after buying in all offseason and you go down like that?
Hold on, can I be Joe Ham?
The message
yes,
doesn't mean
can I be
Please,
Joe Ham?
please.
Okay, here's me. I'm Joe Ham. Hey, guys, it ain't us. It's them.
Oh, no.
This is messed up.
Joe, if you don't believe, we don't either.
and that's the fine line. That's the fine line as a quarterback that cannot come out of your mouth. To your point, Hoyt, it would be a finger pointing in the locker room first amongst each other, offense, defense, because how do you give up that many points, or why you can't stop anybody, why you guys can't score, before they start blaming the coach, unless the coach changed on the sideline. However, we're going to see after film study, whatever comes out of that team meeting on tomorrow or the next day from Coach Willie Taggart, that's when you're going to see some guys maybe, because remember, you don't have to turn in your jersey anymore to quit. All you have to do is just have a little gator on, lean a shoulder when somebody's rushing. You don't have to acknowledge I quit. So you know what else, guys? I think, in my opinion, that's a big, big blow to the ACC and the ACC network.
Yeah.
Launching
a new, channel and things like that. That's a huge blow.
Yeah, we talk about what's happened. A few games already in the books. What happened to Miami, who had a 1,000 chances to win that game against Florida, and they didn't. Georgia Tech opened up against the defending champions and fell 52-14. And then today, you see Florida State lose to a Mountain West team. ACC Network, I'm sure they were like a little bit more oomph in the sales and a little bit more oomph from the end of the game production from some of their teams.
So can I ask you guys, as we end this segment, do y'all want to end on a high? Because Mr. Brian Hoyt has been calling the dogs at this bar.
Okay.
Oh, you think I got a voice left right
so
now?
we can do it if you want to finish out this segment.
I think we should.
Yes,
Joe might go to the restroom.
No, I'm not going to the restroom because I love hearing it. I love hearing it.
I'm going to throw it out here. Watch this.
Hoyt. He's done this very well. I don't know how much he's going to have left. He's a pro.
All right, hang on, Joe. Joe, this one's for you.
Means it.
Is he on the mic?
No. No. It's not amplified.
Oh, my God.
And on that note, we will take that positive energy and we will let you know why this could be the year the Georgia Bulldogs win it all. And Carlos Medina has some pretty good numbers about why Jake Fromm is the man. And also, you cannot blame any coach for the approach Nick Saban took on this. We'll get to that. Joe Hamilton, home team, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. It's Carlos Medina and Brian Hoyt. They are live from the Valentine in Nashville for the Nashville Takeover. This is College Game Day, the watch party here on The Fan, 680-93.7 FM.
The Fan brings you every Braves game live every night. And we are on 40-40 watch for Ronald Acuna Jr.
There goes Ronald. The pitch is outside. The throw down to second. He dives. He's safe. And Ronald Acuna is in the 30-30 club. Second player in baseball history, Ronald.
Florida State four-wheeling.
Had at least 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases in a season prior to
his 22nd
that's
not a good thing.
You'll hear it live on the home
I like
of
Willie
the
Taggart.
The Fan.
They're going to fire him. They're going to run him out of there.
Dude, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Hey guys, back in May,
They fire him mid-season, or you think they stay?
Cup golf event at Lanier Island.
You don't want to fire Coach in the middle of the
No, you don't want to do that.
Staff at
No.
Lanier Island Golf organized the
fire
whole
him
event.
early.
Smooth, fast
Right.
greens,
You're not gonna
complimentary
fire a
food
guy
and
3
beverage,
games in.
and all we
No.
had to do was show up for the fun. If you'd like
The
to
other
try
problem
a
is if you
similar
wait
event,
too
Lanier
late,
Island
then all
is
the
offering
negative
a
recruitment
special
goes on
end
with
of summer
that.
golf
Right.
package for groups
Right.
of
That's a
12
good
or
question.
more. Each player
Plus,
will receive a dozen
Yeah.
Good time to
Callaway
fire
golf
a coach.
balls and a hole-in-one shot at $10,000.
Because you still want to give him that
cash.
chance.
Wait
but-
too late. You can't recruit anybody. The new coach can't recruit anybody.
Right.
LanierIslandGolf.com.
College football fans.
Because really the early signing period is going to be when guys sign now.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Collins. I mean, Johnson said he's going to retire, but kind of what happened with Collins a little bit, though. He still brought guys in, but it was still tough,
Right.
I mean, that's a tough balance, though. I mean, because then you got an upset fan base who's used to winning, obviously, a lot of football games, a national championship.
I will say our graphics look great.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. It's a free service, and we've helped thousands.
Oh, that touchdown came back for Bama because they did score. I guess a hold or something.
A place for mom.
Pass or
Call
run?
today.
It was a pass.
For
And
mom
then he
at
ran in.
1-800-391-1755. That's 1-800-391-1755.
Chuck here with someone who really stepped up for me and mine a few months back, the president of Roof It Forward, John Phillips. John, when our roof was leaking, you were my first call because I like what you folks stand for with your Roof It Forward program.
Thanks, Chuck. As a locally owned and operated company, we think it's really important to give back. That's why we donate a portion of the proceeds from every job to Camp Sunshine, which helps kids with cancer.
That's part of why I love doing business with Roof It Forward, as well as the fact you were on my roof the next day, fixing it right the very first time.
That's right, Chuck. We offer same or next day service. We're also a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and we have the most
Mountain
Google
West
reviews
Conference,
of any
right,
roofing
Boise State?
company in the Atlanta metro area.
And I think
one of the
Hawaii,
highest Google ratings.
Hawaii
so for
won.
a free video roof inspection, it's easy,
Hawaii
folks,
won.
online.
Yeah, we got to start looking at, oh boy.
That's
Man, Mountain West
roofitforward.com.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better.
What does that mean?
Kentucky a fluke, or are they still going to be good? What do y'all think?
It's going to be hard to bounce back from there. They ended up
And these
losing.
nachos over
I don't know.
here
I didn't see what the score was.
I think last year was the best.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
as good as they can get.
Right, especially
At
there.
Fifth Third Bank, we
And-
put
and-
166.7% into everything we
I don't
do
like
to
saying
help
this,
you
but
accomplish
at Kentucky,
everything you
it's
want.
almost like Georgia Tech. When we're good, we normally have
A Fifth Third
juniors
better.
and seniors that been
Right.
there a while, and they'll
680
never
The
leave
Fan,
unless you get a
college
one-in-a-lifetime
football
Calvin
sports
Johnson
page.
or somebody like that. But we don't get a lot of people
Afternoon with
declaring
Exactly.
early. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not yet.
Rhino. Games from earlier this afternoon. Number 24, Nebraska.
That's a great point, Joe.
With a 35-21 win over South Alabama. Ohio State's Justin Fields throws for 234 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 45-21
So really,
rout
right
over
after that
Florida
season where you
Atlantic.
peach,
It took
it's
3
going to be a
overtimes
drop-off to the
21
next.
Iowa State
Right,
to get past
down.
Northern Iowa.
And you
I
hope-
know.
And you hope you can withstand it,
Boise
but
State scored 17
Still fun because
unanswered
Kentucky's had
points.
guys who are like Randall Cobb, you know, obviously Lorenzen and whatever.
So you
Like
can always get players.
Players, right.
College football, you have to have depth. You have to
Depth.
have like
Correct.
30
21
players.
in
Right.
the second quarter. Some other games underway right now. Number 2, Alabama and Duke.
I
In
like
the second
Stoops, though. I think
quarter,
he's a good
the
coach,
game
man.
is scoreless.
Yes.
And at the end of the first, South Carolina leads North
Great
Carolina
mentality.
10-3.
You can see him being in
Tennessee just went
Kentucky
up
for as long as he
14-7
wants to.
Absolutely.
at the beginning of the
Touchdown.
second quarter. With the Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard, you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
This is College Football Saturday on 680 The Fan, powered by Georgia's own credit union. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social at the Battery.
All right, here we go.
We've got college scores and stats all afternoon on the college football voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Happy week 1. College football in full swing. The first week of college football is alive and well, and so are we. Home team Brandon Leak, the College Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket all-time leading passer, Joe Hamilton. We are here in Atlanta live from Sports and Social in the Battery, Atlanta for College Game Day and the watch party. And right up the road, our brothers in the ball, Brian Hoyt and Carlos Medina, who broadcast live from the Valentine in Nashville as Bulldog Nation made the trek up the expressway, up 75, and got themselves some real estate to go in to watch Georgia take on Vanderbilt. Coming up, we'll get a chance to hear from Nick Saban, and you won't be able to blame any coach if they ever sound like this man. We'll also get to, if you go into a game with your in-laws, you go into a cookout with your in-laws, how do you address your in-laws? You go into a Georgia game, you go into a Georgia Tech game, you want to ask your father-in-law if he wants to go, what do you call him?
That's a That's a good one.
How much you pay that man for that introduction, by the way? He hit the Super Bowl. He hit the Hall of Fame. He hit everything.
I try to stick with the facts, Hoyt, and then base my opinion off of that. That's where I start everything. The facts are you guys are troopers because you guys left and hit the road yesterday, got up there, got your work in, and then hit it hard. First of all, how are both of you guys feeling? I'm really concerned about you, Hoyt. Los, when he overdoes it a little bit, he knows his limit and he makes the conscious decision, you know what, I'm going to do something really wrong, and then he just goes ahead and does it. I'm just concerned about you, Hoyt, to make sure you are okay. How are both of you guys doing?
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm fighting through it. So if you want to put that on when you introduce me, and here's Hoyt, and he's fighting through it, but that's what I do. It's week one for all of us, home team. It's not just week one for the players, man. My voice is already gone. I got to build this up.
A dog man through and through. He can pound beers with left and right hands. He calls the dogs like no other man, and he's working through something. Brian Hoyt.
The title. Okay.
We were talking before we went to break about how this could be the year the Dogs finally win it all. There's always an incarnation, whether it's no Sean Marino gets here or Matthew Stafford or Todd Gurley, whoever it is, the litany of great players who have come through the Georgia program always infuses excitement. But this really could be something the way Kirby has taken some lumps early. The question is, with all of the other seasons, and some of them have been hyped up, with all of the other seasons past where they've had opportunities and players, could this really be the year where good football, a good quarterback, a good coach, a good offensive line can get through the landmines that you have to do to get it done at the end?
Well, home team, here's where I would point out the big difference in the two. When we start talking about previous seasons where Georgia fans have been very excited, and rightfully so, you would talk about issues on the offensive line. You would talk about, whether or not they can hold up defensively. Kirby Smart, from the minute that he showed up in Athens in his first press conference,
what did he say?
We need to get bigger and we need to get stronger on the offensive line. And so you're talking now, when it comes to Oregon and Georgia, they're in competition for the best offensive line in all of college football. Now, the defensive line has players. It's all about who's going to get the production. And when you start saying, can this possibly be fulfilled? A lot of it comes back to how are you recruiting? And at this point, Kirby Smart has basically taken a number 6 class in the country, number 3, number 1, number 2. You have more than enough talent now. The team that walked off the field that lost the national championship to Alabama for the 2017 season was the least talented team that Georgia's had in the last 2 years.
Hey, what would you guys say to the critics? I guess critics. I'll say that name out there that says
critics.
Yeah, I mean, just when you dissect in Georgia, when you look at Georgia, the Bulldogs, I mean, you're gonna have to really, assess them fine-toothly. It's not many glaring weaknesses at all, the things that they have not done well or not doing well as far as their program. But when you look at it, that Coach Kirby Smart is a defensive guy. Kirby Smart is known to, develop defensive backs and those type things. And as I look at it, and what's been the Achilles heel in the last 2 years is failing defensively in the late moments. I could say that Jake Fromm has done what he needs to do to hold up a national championship.
He's undefeated. In my opinion, Jake Fromm has never lost a game as a Bulldog.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'll say it. Every game that they lost, you can't put it all on Jake Fromm.
That's
I
correct.
would look to the defense and a Kirby Smart coaching decision somewhere.
Yes, and let's look at it. Even last year when you say the sacks, putting it all together, and then getting off the field when they need to get off the field and preventing comebacks and things of that nature. And I'm just, I'm not down with Coach Smart. I'm just looking forward to how can you change it, get over that hump, because that's what has failed you in the big game.
So I hear what you're saying, Joe, and I agree with you to some point. You're right. Like, you've had a double-digit lead in the third quarter of both the times you played them, and you've given it up. And when I say this is the most talented team, or you hear Lowe say that, I'm not talking about the 11 guys on offense or the 11 guys on defense. I'm talking about second string and third string. Like, you look at offensive line, and I know you're talking defense, but you look at offensive line, you got a guy like Cade Mays, who would be starting at tackle for 120 other programs in this country right now.
Right.
And instead, he's your backup guy. And what Georgia's got to do is they've got to get that depth on the defensive line. That's been the biggest key to me. And until you get that, those guys that those big-ins that just wear down in that third and fourth quarter, that's where you've had your issues. Now that Georgia has depth between their first team and their second team, when you rotate their guys out, and there is no drop-off between your first team and your second team. Now you're talking about a team that can hold up for 3-4 quarters against a team like Alabama. Saban's been doing this for 12 years at Alabama. He's been recruiting that kind of group of guys, that depth of guys. Kirby's only had this for 4 years now. He's finally getting his group in where the last 4 classes are all his. They're his talent. They're his depth. I think that's the biggest difference when you talk about taking on a Clemson or an Alabama or an Oklahoma or Ohio State or whoever the heck it's going to be. It's that depth that you've got. And I'm not talking about depth that injured defensive lineman goes down, offensive lineman goes down. I'm talking about depth in the third and fourth quarter when big boys are grinding on big boys. And if you can rotate a guy in and the next guy in and a fresh guy in and a fresh guy in, that's where Georgia has not held up. So that's part one. Part two, look, Bama's got no backup quarterback anymore. You know what I mean? There's no Jalen Hurts coming off this time. There's no Tua coming off this time. So we're gonna get to December 7th and we're gonna see where things lie. And I know that's what. Good Lord, that's 4 months from now. I'm talking about games 4 months from now. But
that's what your life is now.
Truly, to me, that is the biggest difference between the last 2 years and where this Georgia team is now. When I talk talent,
who are the teams? Who are the programs? And I'm not saying scared because I don't even think that should come up. Who are the teams that concern you? I already said I only think there are 4 bumps in the road the Bulldogs could possibly have.
Nice.
Is there any inkling you could have any problem in Gainesville? Is there or in Jacksonville? Is there any inkling
Florida, no.
that Texas A&M could do anything?
No, it's not Florida. And in fact, the reason why you do have more concerns about Texas A&M is because Kellen Mond is taking that next step forward. And Joe Ham can even tell you about that. You know, we looked, Joe Ham and I were talking about it. The difference in a sophomore year to junior year, a junior year to senior year, when you start getting control of the entirety of the offense where it's second nature, it's
something
yours.
Clicks.
Man.
Isn't that where it clicked for you, Joe?
And I think that's where Kellen Mond is going, where that's a dangerous man out on the field. That's a problem. When you talk about Notre Dame, yes, it's in Athens, but you have the same scenario, a quarterback suddenly taking that next step forward. I'm not really concerned about Florida. I think Felipe Franks is what he is, and I think we saw that on hand when they took on Miami. But those are the 2 primary games, and I would say that. And obviously, Auburn on the road, anything could happen in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, I just look at it when how can you beat the Georgia Bulldogs? I think you're going to have to run the ball. I think you're going to have to make sure you can get passes off, and that's why I like Texas A&M just being able to compete. Will they beat the Bulldogs? I don't think anybody's going to beat the Bulldogs, possibly, in my opinion, having them favored until the SEC championship game. But when you say problems, we're calling out quarterbacks. And Kellen Mond, if they can sit back there and bake a cake in the pocket, then that's going to be problematic. And Ken Nolan Smith and some of those guys that came in this year as freshmen, plug and play. There's no doubt about the talent. But again, then you look back at what's been the Achilles heel in some big games this year. Even though last year, even though Florida ran down, the offense turned the ball over and couldn't score, Florida still ran down the defense's throat. So I worry about that a little bit defensively if I'm a Bulldog, and I know that's nitpicking.
No, it is. But to me, if you're going to knock the Georgia Bulldogs, or what are we calling them now, Joe? Coach Smart? Coach Kirby Smart?
Well, you can call him.
He won't let me call him Kirby.
You say he's close friend of yours. He's a close friend, so.
If you want to nitpick or say the one thing that he has not been able to get done, it's rush the passer. Especially when he sends 4, and they don't.
Not since 2017.
Correct, and that's back when he had Bellamy and Lorenzo, who were on the field every single down, basically, and he would send Roquan up the middle every once in a while. Last year, you rarely saw Georgia blitz, and honestly, I think that was because your secondary was so young, except for Baker on one side of the field, that Kirby didn't want to put those guys in jeopardy.
It was 2 deep shell for the whole season.
Every single time, and he wanted to play that way because as a defensive coach, that's how you want to play. You get your chunk yards. I'm not giving anything big over the top. Kirby has gotten everything I've read and everybody I've talked to. Kirby's getting to a point with this team where he's okay letting you go man outside with his guys and bringing one safety over the top and bringing that other one in the box or bringing a rusher down into the box because he trusts this defensive back group like he's never trusted another DB group. And Joe, you can talk about that at least, or the idea of when you trust the back end to cover your ass, you can send as many guys as you want. And Kirby has not had the ability to do that to this point in his tenure at Georgia.
Yeah, those are good points, and I think Kirby will have a good. I like the way the
Why
schedule.
Why you continue to try to just call him Kirby?
I keep forgetting. Coach Smart.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I just kind of look at him when I saw him play with Kirby. It's Kirby. Everybody saw Kirby Smart was coming in. We wanted Kirby Smart to leave Alabama. Now we got Kirby. Now he's Coach Smart.
On a first-name basis with the man.
I don't know the man like that. I just get excited. Act like I do know the man like that. A guy we hope Coach Smart turns out to be like is Nick Saban. Continue to recruit well, have your student athletes love you, build a machine, build a monster, win some championships. I thought Coach Saban won the microphone this week, and he was preaching a little bit, talking about, you know, us as a people, as a society, and how you are supposed to correct people when things go wrong. Here is Nick Saban. He did the right thing defending his player and how he's defended players in the past. Talking about, you know, how you are supposed to give out forgiveness, second chances, and how you are not supposed to throw people away like trash.
You know, there's always a lot of criticism out there when somebody does something wrong. Everybody wants to know how you're going to punish the guy. All right, but there's not enough for 19 and 20-year-old kids, people out there saying, why don't you give them another chance? All right, so I'm going to give a speech right now about this. Like, where do you want him to be? Guy makes a mistake. Where do you want him to be? You want him to be in the street, or do you want him to be here graduating? You know, when I was over there at the Nagurski, Muhsin Muhammad, who played 15 years for the Carolina Panthers, played for me at Michigan State. Everybody in the school, every newspaper guy, everybody was killing the guy because he got in trouble and said there's no way he should be on our team. I didn't kick him off the team. I suspended him. I made him do stuff. He graduated from me.
10 seconds.
He played 15 years in the league. He's a president of a company now. And he has 7 children, and his oldest daughter goes to Princeton.
Good.
So who was right?
You were. And if he were preaching, I'd get up while he's in the middle of the sermon, take out my $20 bill, and put it in the plate and go sit back down.
That's awesome.
Preach.
Absolutely awesome. And what I love about that situation right there, home team, is the fact that he didn't let the man go scot-free. He made him pay for the mistake. He disciplined him, but he didn't discipline him with no future, no game plan with the man, how he can right his wrong. That gave me chill bumps.
Now, I'm going to ask you as a former student athlete, and then Los and Hoyt and I are going to have an opinion too, but are people
Los and Hoyt are former student athletes as well.
Well, that's true. Baseball player. We have a baseball player in Carlos Medina.
Absolutely.
We're not Hall of Famers, Joe.
The question I have then I'm the only non-talented athlete here on this show right here, so I'll ask the question. Are people who don't play sports haters? Do we just get off sometimes on watching people who are talented athletically get in trouble? Do we want them to get a little extra trouble when we see athletes get into a little bit of a pickle? Because I would say, yes, I think collectively we do. We don't immediately say, well, what did he do? Let's give him a second chance. It always seems throw the book at him, get him off the field, make sure that somebody else gets that spot, and he'll learn that way, the hard way.
Yeah, and that's the time they'll try to protect the brand. That's the time they'll say, hey, it looks bad on you. What about the school? And Coach Saban is setting a different example. Yeah, what about the school if we can come back and have this guy do something else? It's different brushes, home team. It's different brushes. We want to paint athletes with a different brush like they're Hercules, that they don't go home and then when you cut them on their wrist, they'll bleed. And I definitely say it's unfair, and then you'll throw into the fact that they're role models. But they're not role models yet. They have to grow into that.
18 years old, 19 years old.
You must grow out into that, and I applaud all the programs that they're installing leadership opportunities to help those guys grow from sophomore to junior to senior, and developing a leadership, really a council, more leaders. But I love that, man. I wouldn't say it's hating, you know, because a lot of people look at him and say, I wish I could do that. Well, I wish I could be LeBron James, and I'm an athlete.
It's without another recruiting tool he just used. If you are a kid, why wouldn't you listen to that press conference and say, you know what, that's a coach I would like to go play for?
That's exactly what he did.
Well, and that's the thing. It is self-serving, and I fully admit that is very self-serving for Nick Saban.
But you can be right and self-serving.
But you can be right and self-serving, and I think that
can it come from the heart, guys? I mean, could it come from the heart?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, what I would say is this. There's a line of delineation where, you know what, if my guy makes a mistake, and whether he comes from a privileged background or a non-privileged background, I'm not going to throw him away. But in college football, it's now gotten down to the fact is, as long as you don't do something where I see some sort of character issue, don't swing at kids, don't beat on women, don't do things where you take advantage of people that are lesser than you.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to make things work for you. You know what? You decided to get a DUI. That's a dumb party mistake. We'll make that happen. Hey, you decided to get a parking ticket. You know what? Get 20 of them. Stop parking in the wrong place. I'll run your butt until you understand that it's different. And I'll tell you, as a former college athlete,
there we go.
I was not scared of the $50 ticket. I was scared of running for 45 minutes or an hour at a time.
Well put, Medina.
Yeah, I think I'm a degree guy. I'm about degree. What is the degree to which you broke the rules? The degree of your dumbness. The degree of the offense to other parties and to the community. And if the degree is not such that bodily harm, violence, maiming, some kind of really, really despicable act has taken place. Look, we all have been 18, 19, 20 years old, and when the adults weren't looking, did some things we should not have been done. We all didn't get hammered for it or get all over ESPN or a local newspaper for it. And I applaud Coach Saban for, sticking his neck out there and saying, look, I had a situation, and you see what it turned out to be. You know what? I'm not changing. I'm for second chances.
And how many players has Nick Saban let go? Third and fourth strikes. Some incidents that he can only tolerate it one time.
He's cut some guys loose.
Yes, so it's a balance, and you have to be around, or you have to have a gut feeling when you're a head coach to make those tough decisions.
All right, home team, you talked about it. You said, I can't reference this because I didn't play. I wasn't at a collegiate level or an athletic level or anything. No, you were 19, you were 20, you were 21. You know what I mean?
Well, I did the activities after the games and practices were over.
But we all were kids, and we all made mistakes. They just didn't end up on social media. But what was the worst part when you were in high school and middle school when you did something bad at school and your mom found out?
I didn't want her to find out because then she was going to tell John Lee. I didn't want him to find out anything.
The worst part was when Daddy found out. So when Daddy comes home and takes care of that, and if Daddy's Nick Saban, if Daddy's Kirby Smart, if Daddy's whoever, that's the worst thing that can happen to you at the end of the day.
Speaking of Daddy, that brings us to our next point of conversation. What do you call your in-laws? We all, have different relationships with different people. And we threw out a poll on the Home Team in Hamilton show earlier this week, which you can hear on the Sports X 106.3, 103.7 FM. And it was interesting to see what people call their in-laws. So we threw out different categories. Do you call them by first name? Do you call them mom and dad? Do you call them Mr. and Mrs. blank? Or do you call them by a nickname?
You can't call them mama and daddy because they didn't do the 18 years beforehand, right?
No, wait a minute. Joe Hamilton, what do you call your in-laws?
I call my mother-in-law mom, my father-in-law dad.
That's old school.
And that shifted, guys. It shifted from dating. Kenya and I was dating, and I used to call them Mr. and Mrs. Williams. And as soon as I jumped that broom, I don't know, it was a switch. Immediately right after, it went to mom and dad.
No, that disrespects mama and daddy that put up with all your BS.
I will tell you, and I felt very uncomfortable with calling my in-laws, Jeff and Janice or mom and dad. I didn't want to do that. So it wasn't until we were 5 years into the marriage and had a little one where suddenly they told us we have these grandparent names. So now it is Gigi and Grand Dude.
What you use?
Well, that's a nickname.
That's a nickname, which actually won the Home Team in Hamilton poll.
But that's what worked out well. At that point, I was like, you know what? My kids know that's Gigi and Grand Dude. And hell, to this day, whenever I want to get a hold of my father-in-law, I'm like, dude. And he immediately like, yeah, what's up? Because calling him Dad or Jeff is weird.
What are they in your phone, though?
Grand Dude and Gigi. Yeah, same things.
What about you, Hoyt? What did you call your second round of in-laws?
Oh, why you gotta bring up
What about the first round?
I'm about the facts.
So the second round.
Why are you laughing?
Your first marriage failed.
Yeah, it did. 4 months. Someone beat that. No, he went and he became a doctor, and he's like a heart surgeon and all that. So you know what I call him? I call him Dr. T.
Okay.
Dr. T, and then I call her Susan.
Whore?
So a first name and a nickname. That's kind of a hybrid.
Whore. I do not call her whore.
What did you? Oh my goodness gracious! Me, oh my. It is the College Game Day show live from Sports and Social here in the Battery.
Don't you feel it's a disrespect, though, if you call them mom and dad?
No.
Like, for 18 years.
No.
Joe, your mama had to put up with all your BS for 18 years, and you're just going to hand it over to somebody
But
else?
you're blending family.
And my mother-in-law is going to put up
not
for my
family.
BS or what have you for another 50 years.
No,
way,
Kenya
Jose.
puts up with
And
that,
you know
not
what?
her.
No.
Hoyt.
So are you going to possibly take away, or are you trying to take away the in-law part about it? That's what it is the mother and father-in-law. So what are you talking about here? I mean, how you feel about your brother-in-law? It's just, to me, and I'm not arguing one way or the other. To me, it's respect factor.
Let me jump in for Hoyt on this one.
Yes.
Because there is and again, think about it from the standpoint of your family, Joe Ham. You got a beautiful little family. There's going to come a time where there's going to be a young man or young
Joe's got
woman
a daughter, so
at
he's gonna
your
have,
house.
That's right.
And that are going to be attached to your little ones. I think about the same thing. And I go, man, what do I want to be called? What kind of respect do I want this?
Sir.
You're not going to want
you're not
going to want an 18-year-old snot-nosed pulling up in his daddy's car talking about Los. How you doing? Here to pick up Maddie.
Like, I'm going to be mad. Like, and home team, I think about your wife. Your wife is so incredibly strong. She's so incredibly smart. The whole fact of the matter is, like, if she told me, like, listen, you got to call my family this, I'd be like, that's exactly what I'm going to call them. No matter what they say, I'm going to call them that.
What about to cover all bases, just ask?
No, you can't do that.
No, I'm talking this after the broom. First of all, in my opinion,
you let the grandparent decide what they want to be called, the parent and the grandparent.
Well, you can ask your wife to ask them, however you feel comfortable. But it should be, in my opinion, Mr. and Mrs. until you jump the broom.
Yeah, I would be
and
Mr.
then after you jump the broom, then you can decide what have you. But it shouldn't be definitely first name basis while you dating.
Call me Mr. Sir, Mr. King, home team, sir.
That's right. I
Show
agree
some
with
respect
that.
around here. Don't call me by my first name.
Right.
Boy.
I'm here for your daughter.
Yeah, I know what you're here for.
I'm here to pick up your
I'm here for your daughter's kids.
I know exactly what you're here for. It's College Game Day. It's the watch party live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team, Brandon Leak. Joe Hamilton from the Sports X 106.3. And in Nashville, part of the Nashville Takeover, it is Carlos Medina and Brian Hoyt live from the Valentine. When we get back, was this man 100% out of line, or was he 100% awesome? We'll get to that here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
The Fan is kicking off football season with a huge golf tournament. It's the 2019 Georgia's Own Credit Union Tailgate Golf Classic, presented by Southern Company and the PGA Tour Superstore. It all happens
so you can come back
September
in, Rhino.
9th at White Collins Country
I just
Club,
did those
proceeds benefiting the National Center for Civil and Human Rights and
to kind of lead into the conversation.
All right, you want me to come back with the Hustle and Flow?
Southern Company, the PGA Tour Superstore.
Yeah, come back
Solomon
with it.
Brothers,
The Hustle and Flow,
Larson
and then
Bourbon, Stars and Strikes, Kroger, Corona Extra,
the song.
Outpatient
Is an
Imaging,
instrumental
and
of the song.
Engineered
If you wanted to see that as
Solutions of
bumper
Georgia.
music.
This is
All right, cool.
Brown with Brown & Company Jewelers, here with Brown & Company Ambassador Tom
Wow,
Glavin. And
it's
we're just
almost
talking
5
all
o'clock.
things Brown & Company.
Brown & Company is the only place we trust for both extraordinary service and quality product.
Snap.
Everything from appraisals, jewelry repair,
Look, kid,
and
you got
watch
it.
batteries to refurbishing heirloom jewelry, creating custom pieces, and even hand engraving. There is no one else in Atlanta that can do it all.
So visit Brown & Company Jewelers on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell and Peachtree Road in Buckhead. Online at brownjewelers.com.
Matt Stinchcomb here again for ASW Distillery. You know what a lot of folks associate with college football season? Bourbon, especially bourbon from Georgia's hometown whiskey distillery, ASW. I've known ASW Distillery founders Charlie and Jim since our days at UGA, and I routinely give their Fiddler bourbon as gifts on my travels throughout the season. Head over to either of ASW's Atlanta locations in Buckhead or in the West End for a tour and tasting of their whiskey and cocktails, or pick up Fiddler for tailgates at your local bottle shop. ASW Distillery, delicious whiskey distilled by dogs.
Just announced additional Labor Day savings on new 2019 Ford Mustangs at Aikens Ford in Winder. Now through September 3rd, take $10,000 off MSRP on new 2019 Ford Mustangs. Hi, this is Brad Aikens, and we have over 70 of these new 2019 Ford Mustangs with $10,000 off MSRP to choose from, which means you can drive one home starting at only $18,589. So come get $10,000 off MSRP on your new 2019 Ford Mustang, but only through September 3rd at Aikens Ford in Winder. Just 25 minutes east of the Mall of Georgia on Old Highway 29. Stock number 66433, MSRP $28,589. Sale price $18,589. Dealer retains factory rebates plus government fees. See dealer for details. Exclude special edition models, GT350s, and Bullets. Check out these new 2019 Ford Mustangs at $10,000 off MSRP through September 3rd, plus over 1,800 other vehicles with additional Labor Day savings at AkinsFord.com. Akins, we're closer, bigger, and have more Mustangs than you think.
Come on out to the friendliest golf club in North Georgia, the Orchard Golf and Country Club. Located only 90 miles north of downtown Atlanta, the Orchard Golf and Country Club is Habersham County's premier and affordable private golf and country club. Experience the peace and tranquility of our championship golf course. Stop in the Branchwater Grill for a refreshing glass of our signature sweet tea or share a table for dinner with your friends. There is something for everyone at the Orchard Golf and Country Club. The Orchard is a perfect place for a corporate retreat with great overnight accommodations in our Orchard villas and a wide variety of activities including championship golf, hiking Cholula Gorge, and some of the best guides and trout fishing in the country on the nearby Sequoia River. It simply doesn't get any friendlier or more relaxing at the Orchard Golf and Country Club, convenient to Lake Raven and Lake Burton. To schedule a visit, give us a call at 706-754-3156. That's 706-754-3156 for the Orchard Golf and Country Club.
680 The Fan, college football sports page.
Good afternoon with the Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard. It's me, Rhino. Top 25 games underway right now. Jacob Eason is thrown for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. Number 13, Washington leads Eastern Washington 28-7 in the third quarter. Alabama scores again. It's now 14-0 in the second. About to go to the half. Their lead to number 15, Penn State, flanking Idaho in the second quarter. That 27-0. Northwestern and Stanford, they're also in the second quarter. No score there. Games from earlier this afternoon. Number 24, Nebraska survives a late scare with a 35-21 win over South Alabama. Ohio State's Justin Fields throws for 234 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 45-21 rout over Florida Atlantic. And on the road, Boise State went to Tallahassee, scored 17 unanswered points, knocked off Florida State 36-31, and it took 3 overtimes for number 21 Iowa State to get past Northern Iowa 26. With the Georgia United Credit Union College Scoreboard, I'm Rhino, and you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 93.7 FM.
680 The Fan's College Football Saturday, powered by Georgia's Own Credit Union. Become one of Georgia's Own now at georgiasown.org. Keeping you up to speed on all the afternoon college action. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social on the biggest college football station in the country, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Everything as long as you're right, I want your love.
Welcome back in to College Game Day.
Oh, we back?
It's the watch party, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. It's home team Brandon Leak and the College Football Hall of Famer, the Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the all-time leading passer in the history of Georgia Tech, 8,800 yards and change. He's also an All-American. He's Joe Hamilton. In Nashville, it is the great Brian Hoyt and the great Carlos Medina, who are part of the Nashville takeover at the Valentine, a great place hosting Georgia fans as they get ready to take on Vanderbilt up there in Nashville.
Just had a party foul, so he lifted the Comrex, and we had some ladies' phone numbers under here, Los, and it just flew away.
It was not me.
Into the crowd.
I just moved it a little bit.
It's gone now.
Now, are you guys solo? Do you guys have friends? Do you have wives?
No, we have wives, but also we have our primary person who's here to protect us.
That's right.
Now, who is that person?
Frank Duffy?
It's obviously Frank Duffy.
It's Frank. Frank is with us to make sure and make sure we're not going too crazy.
Well, Frank will take out his wallet and slap everybody in there and knock them out cold.
I'm here as security, I think. I'm not really sure what my role is, but it's either the getter of drinks or security.
Either way, he's doing really well at it. Either way.
Well, week 0, we had a little faux pas. The guy needed a little security, you need a little extra correcting, at least from the producers and the powers that be. Desmond Howard caught a little flack for his Wayne Brady joke that he pulled off from the Chappelle show. He issued an apology, and you could tell it was from the bosses and he really wasn't interested in doing it. He probably should have been suspended for the apology and not for what he said, because he really didn't want to do it. But here was Desmond Howard trying to make a joke on game day as Week 0 got underway, and he was trying to provide a little moment of levity.
On the Fan.
680, 93.7 FM. Anyway, what happened was
No, look, man, it's okay, man.
he told the joke that people remember from the Chappelle Show. And some people might not be familiar with the Chappelle Show.
To choke a bee.
Yes, and it was more of what the joke was than what the intent was. And that's why I wasn't really as upset as a lot of people. I don't think his intent was to hurt or to be disrespectful. He was trying to be funny.
It's funny.
Very funny. Very funny.
Like, who is the tennis player? It's Djokovic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll still remember, like,
To this day.
growing up in that era, the 6 o'clock Sports Center and the 10 o'clock Sports Center, when Djokovic was playing and he had a great shot, is he about to Djokovic? Like, and it was off the way. Is Wayne Brady about to have to Djokovic? And that's what he said. I don't get this, man. Like there are so many PC police out there that just want to be upset about something, man. Like, why can't we all just get over what we're upset about?
I have to be old man River here on this, even though I don't agree.
no.
I don't agree with the upset folks. I have to be old man River, because anytime you have to explain a joke, it probably wasn't delivered the right way. A joke is pretty funny, ha, 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 and we move on. It's not when you go to commercial break. I would like to apologize for the comments I made, for the Wayne Brady reference I made back in 2003. My comments did not mean to offend, and I'm sorry, and hope we can move on. That means it wasn't executed properly.
I get the fact that it's a near 20-year-old joke on a cable television network from a essentially what it comes down to, it was very fringe, and that's fine.
I got it.
A show Fringe, by the way?
Let's face it.
Like, for all of us growing up.
It was watched for 2.5 years.
I know, but it was
on a network that a lot of people don't watch.
But it was such good
Chappelle was must-watching. It really was.
But it was hilarious from the standpoint, and the fact that you have to, and here's the problem, what it comes down to. I have to explain it for everyone else who don't pay attention, don't have memory, don't have whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry. If comedy is all about that, well, then comedy is dead. And that's the problem that we have now, where comedians actually are having to apologize to people because you don't get their humor because you're dumb as S.
And that's better put. And that was funny, Carlos.
Can you imagine Eddie, though, like back in the 80s, having to explain his comedy? Like, he can't do his comedy anymore.
But there was no sports talk radio. There was no game day back in the early 80s. This is a phenomenon where every day you're having people get ready to watch college football, but then people want to infuse other elements of entertainment into the sports realm. And that's what Desmond Howard tried to do. Like I said, I don't think he had any intent to be disrespectful or to harm or hurt anybody. It just came across wrong.
If I say women be shopping, I'm not being sexist. I'm doing Chris
you're
Rock.
doing a bit. Women be shopping.
That's right.
That's actually Dave Chappelle, too.
I mean, again,
It was.
like, if we were to go back to Chris Rock, 1994, Bring the Pain.
Yep.
That is one of the most famous stand-up acts of all time.
And if you haven't seen it, that's your fault.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, that's your fault. And when he does the entire thing of, I ain't saying he should have killed her, but I can understand. The entire OJ bit, you're like, wow, that's on you for not getting the comedy that he was doing.
I probably shouldn't bring up Richard Pryor from the 70s.
Same thing, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Richard Pryor. No Richard Pryor joke could make it to game day.
No.
Or to this college game day here on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. But I think it's just more about, there are going to be people who are always going to be offended by something. You also there's playing old man River here. When you are paid to be on television or on the radio, you are paid to mind what comes out of your mouth. So you have to reap the whirlwind. If a joke you try to pull off, they didn't pay him to be a comic. They paid him to be an analyst. If you decide to go with a joke and it's not funny, you have to reap the whirlwind sometimes.
They also paid him to be an entertainer as well.
I would agree.
There's a fine line.
He entertained me.
It's a thin line you skate to,
right?
And as long as the ice just goes a little bit over, you're okay.
That's what I was gonna say, Tiz. Like we're on for 2 hours here. What are we supposed to do? Entertain, inform, what?
I call it infotainment.
That's right.
It's already dangerous enough. You got a sponsor up here, huh?
Oh You never know how it's going to turn out.
All right, when we get back, there's a lot of red in town, but how much red is up the road? And would you ever in your lifetime think you would start looking to eat one of these? We'll get to that. What? Home team. Joe Hamilton here from Sports and Social in the Battery, Atlanta. It is Carlos Medina and Brian Hoyt. They are live from the Valentine in Nashville. This is College Game Day, the watch party, here on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
This is college football.
Hey, sorry about that. The mouse got stuck, and I kept hitting it. It wouldn't come out.
Credit Union.
Yep.
With Truckit, contractors have access to thousands of dump trucks at their fingertips,
don't worry about it.
allowing you to match your needs with our network. Using Truckit, place orders in the field and monitor ETAs in real time. Technology that's fast and easy to use. Learn more at truckit.com.
Kitchen Design Secrets by Platinum Kitchens and Design. Hi, I'm Leslie Karp of Platinum Kitchens.
Can they hear us down the line in break?
No, that spot where everything gets dumped, keys, phones.
Yes, on the broadcast. Yeah.
Right, but Hoyt and Lowe's can't, right? Okay, yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah.
To hide cords and cables. And a more permanent solution.
Yeah, we have to edit that one
create a
anyway.
shallow cabinet, the point of entry.
Which one?
To keep them
If
in
Hoyt
reach
and
or out
Lowe's.
of sight. More kitchen design secrets at platinumkitchens.com.
I'm Michael Karp of Platinum Kitchens. I believe the kitchen is the new family room. It's where you live. Kitchen renovation.
I still call my mother-in-law by her first name. I'm going out. She's a Georgia fan, so unfortunately I have to go hear all that crap later. But no, it's all good stuff.
I guess that's just, I have a problem calling people older than me by their first name.
But it's weird, like what Joe said. Before Rebecca and I got married, it was, hey, Miss Upchurch. Now it's like, hey, Vicky. And she calls me son, though. She calls me son, so it's kind of weird. I don't know, like, should I call you mom? Like, you're around the age of my mom, but I just don't know, right? I love it, though, man.
Hot weather is here, and my question, have you thought about
almost
your
like
crawl
a real
space lately?
relationship.
Okay, I understand
somebody
the
started
answer
off saying
is no,
Mr.
Chuck, I haven't been
Business, and they
thinking
say,
about
no,
my
call
crawl
me
space.
Vicky.
But
Right.
just like
Right.
Until you call me.
See, right.
The whole thing. How can you go to
Yes.
Mr. Business to first name?
Right.
If it's not,
experts at AquaGuard
don't call me
Foundation
that.
Solutions.
And she did say you can call me Vicky, so I said, okay. All right. It's fair game now, you know? Right? Because knowing my parents, if I didn't say yes, ma'am, no, sir, like, that's not a good thing for me.
Wall or groundwater seepage,
Yeah, so.
mildew, and even mold
Yeah, it was
growth.
always
Don't
Mr.
worry, AquaGuard Foundation Solutions.
It's so
is
tough,
here
that
to
balance.
help. Their experts are the best in the industry.
You don't want to say
and their
anything
patented
wrong.
Crawl space drainage, encapsulation, and dehumidification systems are designed to permanently resolve your crawl space issues and restore your peace of mind.
By the way, home team, I saw Georgia State Stadium the other day. Dude, that Turner Field, dude, it's awesome what they're doing in that place.
If you ever get a chance to get in the season and get tours of the locker room,
I saw it.
Their locker room,
Unreal.
for the money that they have, it is on par with anything. That
It's fantastic. If I'm a athlete, I'm going to Georgia State. You know, it's still Sun Belt D1. Go to a bowl game.
It's going to take some time.
Yeah,
Georgia State better be careful too, because I think they had a chance while Paul Johnson was kind of coming to the end.
Right.
Jeff Collins starts recruiting, and then Georgia Tech ascends. They
Right.
kind of missed the window. They had a decade to
That's
kinda,
true.
Get some.
It's been since what, 2010, right? Then Curry when their inaugural year.
Bill Curry, then Trent Miles, and now
Miles, that's the guy. That's right.
Plus checking account
Yep.
from Georgia's own credit union. With Perks Plus checking, I get all the features I need from a checking account, including easy ATM access, bill pay,
They get
and
an
mobile checking
flag. Hold on.
Plus, I get extra perks like
Oh,
cell phone
man.
repair protection and more.
Pass
all
interference.
For one low monthly fee. To open your Perks
That would've
Plus
been a
checking
big play for
account,
Georgia State
visit
right there.
georgiasown.org today.
That would be funny if we all could do a choke. That's what I'm asking when we get back.
Subject to credit
Who's somebody, if you could do a Chappelle joke, who would you want to choke?
We are the official sport of your Georgia Bulldogs. WCNN North Atlanta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social. We've got college scores and stats all afternoon on the college football voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta's The Watch Party. Home team Brandon Leak, College Football Hall of Famer, the Georgia Tech all-time leading passer, and the Super Bowl champion Joe Hamilton from the Sports X 106.3 FM. We are here at Sports and Social up the road in Nashville as they get ready to take in the sights and sounds of the Dogs taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Brian Hoyt and Carlos Medina broadcasting live from the Valentine in Nashville with a bunch of Dog fans. Brian Hoyt already calling the Dogs early. They are fired and fueled up. Hoyt, how are you? We need you to pace yourself How are you doing? Because you still have a ways to go before kickoff.
All right, I'm going to sub in for Hoyt because here's the deal. He actually had to go use the restroom, and it took him probably about 5 minutes to get rid of the things that he has done. Oh, now he's making his way back. So
it's all right.
At this point, Brian Hoyt, how are you feeling just this close to kickoff?
Wait, are we on the air?
Yes, we're on the air.
Let me tell you what I'm well hydrated. I'll say
by
that.
the way,
with
what you
what?
told that young lady, I am very offended by.
No, you shouldn't be. I stole her bathroom spot.
You did.
I had to get on the air and I needed to go. But when we were in Baton Rouge last year, I had a press credential, and I don't know how I snuck down. I took the elevator to the wrong floor. Next thing I know, I see Coach Ogeron's room. I see, like, the D-backs room, and I went and used their bathroom. I was like, nobody's here. All the players are on the field. I used their bathroom. They have a hydration chart on the wall in the bathroom by all the urinals, and it shows a different color. It shows, like, 9 different colors, and 4 mean you're hydrated, 4 mean you're dehydrated.
Where are you?
I am very hydrated.
Okay.
I will say that much.
All right.
We're straight on that.
We feel better about that. We're going to feel better once you get the game in and you get back down 75 and you get back to the battery when you get back to the Fan 680-93.7
Keep in mind,
FM.
home team, they're selling beer up here in Vanderbilt, so we're going to drink this place dry by the time we go.
Great. Well, we do have a holiday Monday, so take your time. Take your time and be safe. Some big games going on right now here locally. We have Alabama and Duke kicking things off, ACC-SEC matchup. We had one shocker early in the day with Boise State, a game that was moved from Jacksonville, initially a neutral site, but due to the hurricane and the bad weather, it was moved to Tallahassee, and Boise State goes into Tallahassee and gets a 36-31 win over Willie Taggart and Florida State. That ain't good for Coach Taggart and Seminole Nation. And here locally, Georgia Tech fell in their first game. We didn't talk Tech the first hour, Joe, but what were some of the things you got out of it? What I got was we still have some questions about who the quarterback is going to be, what the offensive line is going to be able to do, and I think they found some guys that can run a little bit on defense. So there were some things, even though the score reflected a really dominant game by Clemson.
Yeah, and Coach Collins wanted to really see what's in his cupboard. You know, you saw what's in your cupboard when you say passing the test of spring ball, summer conditioning, fall camp. But now we get to play somebody else. And not only somebody else, the national champions, defending national champions, number 1 team in the nation. So you're looking at some positives. You're looking at to see who's not big-eyed, who's not intimidated by Death Valley, who will not quit and give up on you, who's not pointing fingers on the sideline and sticking together.
Faking injuries.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Faking injuries. Who want into the game and saying, Coach, put me in. And with that being said, home team, the expectations of what Coach Collins did in the offseason had guys, not me, but it had a lot of guys I was teetering, thinking not really thinking. There was no way we can match up with a team like that. Clemson third deep, 3 third stringers can compete with us right now as far as talent.
Well, at least you got to see that's a team that hadn't lost a game since 2017. So no shame in that. They've won 11 straight games by 20 points or more. So there's no shame that they are a well-fined unit, a machine right now. And it's going to take some time to get close to be able to compete with the level of talent Dabo Swinney has recruited and assembled up the road up I-85.
Like, everybody remembers what what his record was the first year, right? Like, let's not forget that.
They were 7-5. They barely beat Nicholls State.
We lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you lost
that's
to
right.
Vandy on homecoming. So that's the thing with Jeff Collins. Know that it's going to be a process. Know that you have the right guy, but there's not pain before there's production. It's part of how it goes.
There should not be any, and I hate talking as a Georgia fan, talking to Tech people, whether it's you, Joe Ham, and
don't worry about it. You and I get along really well.
Or just anybody, but there should be no expectations for this year. And I talk about wins and
that's
everything
talking loose, Hoyt. I mean, I have to stop you from talking loose. No expectations, not even week to week, not even individual goals.
Joe Ham, you want me to hit him?
No, don't hit him. Please don't hit him. But you can at least say high expectations. But when you go into any situation, when you say no expectation, so what about finding a quarterback? What about finding a leader? What about seeing who emerges that way? You can still go piece by piece. What about after 6 games into the season, you're going to be judged on the latter part of things? And I understand where you're going, but goodness, man, I don't even say that even setting your goals as making it, trying to get to a bowl game should be expectations. I know you said, no, Hoyt, and I'm not here to defend that, but you're saying almost to an athlete, to a coaching staff, don't dream. Come on now.
No. Let me tell you this, Joe Ham, and I want you to think about this from this standpoint because this is the way I look at it in terms of Jeff Collins.
And it's hard for Joe because he's a player, and that's hard.
And I get that. But let's say you find a quarterback.
It's a little patronizing.
Let's say everybody feels really good defensively. Let's say the offensive line is building towards a certain level of play, and you win 5 games. The thing is, it's still about, and unfortunately, this is what it is.
Yes.
It's still about finding all those things and making all those things happen. And even though the numbers don't put you into a bowl game, man, I want to find a guy that I go, you know what, this is my quarterback next 3 years.
Right.
I want these are my guys. This is how we're going to play defense. And unfortunately, the numbers and the bowl game is not showing up, but no big deal because next year we're going to freak everybody out.
On a micro level for me, if I'm looking at this Georgia Tech thing objectively, pie in the sky, I'm looking at why can't we be 3-1 at the end of the month? Why can't we beat the Citadel? Why can't we beat South Florida? Why can't we beat Temple? Can we not beat any of those teams?
It's not about that.
And then if you don't get that, can you win 2 of them? Can you beat South Florida, and can you beat the Citadel and be 2-2 after a month of football? Is that crazy talk here in the A?
Here's the thing. And Joe knows this, as a quarterback, the quarterback gets the wins and losses thrown on his back.
Right.
And the quarterback has nothing ultimately overall to do with all of that. Don't focus on wins and losses. There are little battles that happen in a football game. Win the little battles and focus on the little battles. If you're muffing a punch, if you're fumbling the ball against the best team in the country, those are things you can improve on.
On the first possession.
There's nothing that Coach Collins can do overnight to make you better than Clemson. There's not, and that's not meant as disrespect.
Well, see, that's a pill that's already swallowed, though. You know, Clemson, and I feel you on that, Hoyt, but Clemson is in the rear view mirror. Clemson, man. It's almost going forward now in a building process. That's what you're talking about now. Clemson was gosh. I mean,
but Joe, here's the thing. 50 points from Clemson is different than, let's say, 35 from South Florida.
Yes.
35 from South Florida may still beat you. That's the thing. It's like it's all about the little incremental steps where we say, guys, let's keep working on little things because they will add up to big things.
Joe,
I feel you. So much of it's that.
Did you ever play a perfect game? Did you ever play a perfect game and lose, Joe?
No, sir.
Okay. This team right now, the way it's set up from a talent standpoint, can play a perfect game against somebody and lose.
And that's simply not true, Mr. Hoyt. You're telling me the team that I saw last night. You're telling me the team that I saw last night get beat 49-0 by Wisconsin. And what I saw as far as dissecting plays is going to come in here in Bobby Dodd Stadium, even though all the things we have to go through, and you are correct, line or offense change and those type of situations, and score 35 points just because they're South Florida? I'm supposed to accept that?
It was a close game last year.
No way.
Home team. I think you and I could have more common ground between Saints and Falcons than we're going to find in this conversation.
Joe, let me ask this.
That's hard to do.
Have you got a chance to grab a little bit of grub over there at Sports and Social?
I was about to go Desmond Howard. Is home team going to have to choke?
And you know what,
Joe Ham.
No, I want to clarify myself though too, Lowe's. I understand that we, might not be favored, and if we lose that game, continue to hold your head up, making sure you got the scheme of what Coach Collins is trying to do defensively and offensively. I understand that it's not all be all with wins and losses, but when I hear don't have any expectations, when a team just got beat and didn't score, man, that makes me tremble.
Win 5 games, be 2-2 at the end of September. That's what I'm looking to do.
Joe Ham,
yes, sir.
Have you gotten a chance to grab a little bit of grub over at Sports and Social?
Not yet. Looking forward to it.
It's really good. Okay.
It is.
Because I'm just kind of curious because of this.
Hang on, Joe. You're not still stuffed from that 50 burger on Thursday?
Oh boy, there he goes. I thought he was going to class it up, and here comes the dog attacking the jacket.
No, I'm not stuffed anymore. I'm not stuffed anymore.
Can we call the dogs one more time here because now we're starting to get people to leave.
Well, you have to do it one more time before they leave the building. You guys are at the Valentine.
We're going to do it one more time. So, all right, I got everything going. Get everything set up.
All right, get him straight and just give us the signal. as Brian Hoyt is one of the best at calling the dogs here in Atlanta, in Athens, or in Nashville. There it is. Anybody can do it, but no one can do it like Brian Hoyt.
Yeah, he has to follow.
Calling the dog.
No, hey, Hoyt, he's even better live, man. I appreciate that. But Hoyt, you don't do anything to me, Hoyt. You don't have to apologize when you negative talk the Yellow Jackets. You don't have to apologize.
Just scratch your face with your college football Hall of Fame ring.
No, because
didn't fumble the ball. How about that?
Because most often than not, man, you come out of a place of love, man. I understand.
Be careful, Hoyt. Be careful, Hoyt.
Joe Ham did fumble that football.
Yes, he did. We went back and watched the film, home team. So on that Georgia game,
but he fell on it.
No, he did not. Joe Ham, tell him, Joe Ham. Tell him what happened.
I'm going to call you
Replay was different back then.
Upon further review, I have no comment.
You have to go by what happened on the field and move on, adapt and overcome.
Right, Joe.
We saw a left
Tell
knee.
him what the final score was, Joe.
I don't remember, man. It was a W.
That's all that matters in the record books. When we get back, we will ask this. Is it okay to even ask this question about Kirby Smart and his program, and why the Florida Gators are not the same and may never be the same again? We'll get to that.
Fair question.
Joe Hamilton, home team from the Sports X. We're live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Brian Hoyt, Carlos Medina, they are live from the Valentine in Nashville for the Nashville Takeover. This is College Game Day, the watch party here on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
If you're a football fan in Atlanta, the Fan has you covered for the 2019 season with the return of our Ultimate Football Guide, presented by Ortho Atlanta.
It wasn't a fumble, Joe.
Northwest
Don't let him get you wrong.
This is your full rundown of the season,
you know,
including
he's telling the
schedules,
truth,
seating charts for
me,
every
him,
stadium, and insight on the local teams from the most connected football staff in the South.
Joe, did you go back on YouTube and watch it?
Yeah, we watched it in the studio.
25,000
and I
copies
fumbled
to
it,
their
and I thought I
customers.
got to recover it.
Call the mouse.
Might have been question on my defense now. Ron Cherry, the ref Ron Cherry.
Wasn't it safety who were? I remember safety. Someone. It looked like I thought it was out of bounds though.
Yeah, recovered out of bounds.
Out of bounds. See, that's what I thought. They recovered it out of bounds.
That's another good point. I did lose the ball.
Right. Come on, man. I'm a tech guy. You know,
Hey, Rhino.
Best tailgate parties for Atlanta's biggest sporting events. Head to 680thefan.com/tailgate central for upcoming events. And if you can't make it out, it's worth the drive to head to Tower Wine and Spirits on Piedmont Road in Buckhead and Doraville to pick up all the Corona you need to watch the game at home. Find your beach this football season with Corona Extra and the Fan. And find your Corona at Tower Wine and Spirits or Beverage World on Peachtree Industrial. Click on the Corona banner on the Tailgate Central page to find out more.
It's football season, and Georgia Southern will soon be back in action at Allen E. Paulson Stadium, looking to build off a 10-win season. Get your 2019 tickets at gseagles.com.
LSU tonight.
Southern.
Georgia Southern LSU.
Welcome to the Summer of Audi sales event. John Kincaid,
boy,
my
they're
friends
lucky
at
their
Audi
quarterback
Atlanta,
they are
Dude.
nothing without him,
great
man.
deal
I know,
now
right?
On a 2019 Audi Q5, which is what I'm driving right now from Audi Atlanta. You can lease a well-equipped 2019 Audi Q5.
I remember watching that, Joe. I was like, that ball's out of bounds. It's out of bounds. It's out of bounds. And and then that's ultimately what it was.
Yeah, and that was the last drive. But if we didn't get that back, it would have probably been over.
Yeah. No, it was really tough. I was so glad we won that game, man. God, dude, I was so excited. And then next year, obviously getting them at home. That was a great game, though. That one at 99 was awesome.
And as an athlete,
16-8-26.
that's what you want going into a game like that. Your rival, you want an outstanding game, and your team to come up on top.
That's it, man.
You don't want to blow out either way, but you want a good game.
Right. And it was good because Quincy was good that year. Carter was really good that year. That was the main thing. Tillman recovered it, I think. It was just so, man. That was
you
awesome.
talking about
Looking for some fun this
Jasper
summer? Come to
Saints.
the Atlantic Station for our summer
Chris
event
Young.
series.
Young.
Stretching
I'm
the
thinking
sun
Tim. No,
Wednesday
I think
evenings
the
at
Corey
Union
Allen
Park
game was one that killed me in '97, where he caught. Dude,
man.
that was where they called the pass interference. That was not pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
We had an interception on that.
Yep. Oh, I know. That was Tillman. That's what. Yep. You're right, Chris Young. That's right.
For information on these events and much, much more, visit Atlanta.
Great ride.
And even that game with Bobby Dodd, Randy McMichael had like almost.
Dude, he
160.
killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it. He was good.
Still upset about that game.
Home team, yeah. Oh.
Memberships are now on sale for the 2020 season, giving you more access than ever before to this exciting team.
Hit high and deep to center. He's at the wall. He runs out of room. Home run. Ronald Acuna Jr. does it again.
Is Rhino back?
Whether you're looking to
Rhino, you there?
business
I didn't even
partners
check.
or develop lifelong with
There
your
we go.
family,
Are there any
the
interns
Atlanta
in there
Braves
with you?
have
You
membership
solo?
options to fit.
I'm by myself.
Both A-List and Infinity Club members receive invitations to exclusive events throughout the year. Concessions, benefits, parking priority, and of course, guaranteed access to the 2021 MLB All-Star Game at SunTrust Park.
He is out of room. That's a home run out of Freeman, and we're tied.
For more information on all Atlanta Braves membership options, including full season,
At the Braves game last night, man, when Luke
business,
Jackson
and
gave up that
premium
3-run bomb, I was
memberships,
like, here we go again.
And I had just given him a nickname Friday.
What was it? What'd you give him?
LJ. I think it was called him LJ.
680 The Fan. College
Joe's like, yeah, I
football
don't know if
sports
that's-
page.
Good afternoon.
I'm not gonna lie, home team, I was worried.
The Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard. It's me, Rhino. Two former Georgia quarterbacks are making headlines this afternoon.
I was so worried when
Jacob
he gave that
Eason
up.
has thrown for 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards. His number 13.
I'm glad he's got out of
Washington
Athens, man, to be honest with you, Eason.
42-7
I mean, but Fromm
in the
is
third
stud,
quarter.
but-
Earlier, Justin Fields threw for 234 yards and 4
Absolute
touchdowns.
stud.
He is a stud, dude. He is so
45-21
smart,
over
intelligent.
Florida Atlantic. Game's
So
underway right
intelligent.
now at the half. Duke
And
gets
that's
on
when
the board, but
when I
number
talk
2
about-
Alabama
when I talk
still
about
leads 14-3.
the involvement, you can't
Idaho
let
might get on the
Fromm
bus and
involve
not
the way
come
you
back
can't
after the
carry
half.
Right.
Number
until
15,
those
Penn
wide
State
receivers
leads
get a little
Idaho
acclimated.
44-0. And number 25,
you got a whole
Stanford,
set
just
of
got on the
playbook.
board right
You
before
got a
the
whole-
half. They lead
You got a whole set of
7-0
plays
over
you can
Northwestern.
open
Some
up
other
the
games
ball.
from earlier
Exactly.
this afternoon.
What's up,
Number
dude?
24, Nebraska survives a late scare with a
That's it, man.
35-21 win over South Alabama. Ohio State's we already talked about that one. We didn't need to go back to that. And on the road, Boise State went to Tallahassee,
checking
scored
things at the
17
line,
unanswered
calling plays
points.
at the line.
They
Dude,
knocked off Florida State.
I was at that game a couple years ago. Oh, you
36-31.
guys better get back.
With the Georgia United Credit Union College Scoreboard, I'm Rhino, and you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
680 The Fan's College Football Saturday, powered by Georgia's Own Credit Union. Become one of Georgia's Own now at georgiasown.org. College updates all afternoon. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social at the Battery, Atlanta, on the biggest college football station in the country, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day, the watch party live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak, Joe Hamilton, the College Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, also an All-American. We are here in Atlanta, up the road in Nashville, part of the Nashville takeover as the Georgia Bulldogs get ready to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores tonight. Brian Hoyt and Carlos Medina, they are broadcasting live from the Valentine in Nashville. I want to remind you that every Saturday this college football season, Sports and Social, we're going to be here breaking down the college football action, and all season long you can register for a conference championship game day experience that will include a pregame meal, drinks at Sports and Social. You'll get transportation, and you'll get a chance to get into the 680 The Fan championship tailgate party. 2 tickets to the championship game at the Benz December 7th. All season long, we're going to register folks here at Sports and Social for that. We're also giving away a VIP table at Sports and Social for the conference championship game with a $2,000 tab. Even Brian Hoyt can't drink through all of that. Stay tuned for registration details. There is no debate. You need to be here watching college football Saturdays with us here at Sports and Social. And that is no doubt. Is there any doubt we should be able to question Kirby Smart on this, guys? And Joe Ham brought it up. When will the Bulldogs defense be charged at winning one of the big ones? When you look at some of the big losses so far in the Kirby era, it's been because of defense at the end of a game, at the end of a half, at the end of a big-time situation not being able to come up with the big play, is it okay to question whether or not the defense is going to get some of the heat and winning some of these major games, championship games, college playoff games, and beyond?
What are you suggesting?
I'm just saying, Coach, it's been a good offensive run. Jake Fromm's been awesome. Your offensive line's been awesome. What about your defense at some point in these big games, Coach?
That's a fair question.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, we all know that Kirby's been a defensive guy. Like, going back to Alabama and everything else, Kirby's been the defensive mind, but he hasn't – I go back to what we talked about in the first hour. I don't think he's trusted everything that he's had on defense up until this point. I think this year is one of the first times you will see, whether it's, and you're talking talent, you're talking a true freshman in Nolan Smith, which is what everybody wants to see coming off the edge, or the number one JUCO player in Jermaine Johnson, or Adam Anderson. The list goes on, Ojolari. The list goes on and on of guys rushing off the edge. Joe knows this. The greatest way to scare a quarterback is to put pressure on him. If you want to see the moxie of a quarterback, put pressure on him. When was the last time Georgia honestly put pressure? It was when you had two guys go in the NFL draft, and Lorenzo Carter. Did Bellamy get picked, or was he an undrafted late on?
Either a late pick, but regardless, 2017.
You had two guys that could give heat off the edge, but that was just two guys that were playing for 4 quarters. You've got 6 guys right now. You just had a guy in Brenton Cox that you said, hey, I'm going to need you to move to DN because you're not going to make the depth chart right now. And he said, I don't want to move to DN, and I'm having a problem with this coaching staff. And Kirby said, fine, peace. I don't need you. My depth chart is so set up right now at this outside linebacker star position. You can bounce. And I don't have a problem with that because I'm so deep. I think this is the first time you will actually see, and this is a weird thing to say because it's been 3 years, you will actually see Kirby Smart get to actually play his defense where he does not have to play two-man safe over the top every single time, because that's vanilla SEC football. You know what's sexy is when you watch LSU or Bama now in their creation of their monster. Exactly. And that's the idea. When you have talent out there, I just did a steak snort. When you have talent out there,
when you have talent out there,
you can do whatever you want. Christy Brooks.
You can put pressure on them and have safety back.
Exactly.
So, Hoyt, when you look at that situation, and you can chime in, please, too, Los, is that not been a priority since Coach Smart got there? Why have you been able to upgrade, and you're talking about 5-star across the board previously before this year? Why wasn't that an emphasis? He knew that when you go to Bellamy and Carter, those was Coach Rick's guys. So now the same thing when you come up into or come from the defensive background, it seems like you would put a priority on the number one position where you can get, that affects the other team's offense. You would put that high as what you have to upgrade. That's my only point.
No, you know what? That is an extremely good point. But what I would say is this, and this is the difference between when you are recruiting at a top 3 level versus a top 10 level. Top 10 level, you have to wait for guys to turn into what they're going to turn into, and you're very hopeful that they're going to be what they're going to be. Kirby Smart inherited 2 guys that made plays on a regular basis. Lorenzo Carter was one of the biggest pass rushers in all of high school football when he was getting after people.
If Lorenzo was in a perfect system, Lorenzo should have gone after his junior year. There's a reason he did not go until a senior.
He had 7 sacks as a freshman, and everyone's like, he's going to be the next thing. It didn't work out. Bellamy made so many plays throughout his senior year that it was there. Well, the problem is that when it came down to what was being recruited, those guys were really not ready the next year to reload. Now, Georgia was good in the standpoint of defending the run, and that was a big factor. They're right there with Alabama, right there with Auburn, right there with LSU.
And if you're a defensive guy in the SEC, that's the most important thing. Stop the run.
But having those guys like Nolan Smith that are supposed to give you the shock plays, give you the plays where it's like, you know what, quarterback tried to drop back, ball's on the ground. Those are the guys that were not in the system as of yet that have now been there for about the last 12 months.
And I go back to last year, you're talking about Richard LeCount, who was a sophomore, who saw snaps as a freshman, but he was a sophomore in the SEC. There's a lot of change between high school football and what goes on in the SEC as a safety. You are the last line of defense. Same thing with J.R. Reed. You've got juniors and seniors back there to protect your basically your butt, and not to say the A word, but you protect your butt back there.
Your arse.
Yeah, exactly. At last minute, so
Tiny.
you've got upperclassmen back there covering your arse.
He sounds terrible.
So, ultimately, you can give up some on the pass rush, and I think that's what you're going to see this entire year. Like Nolan Smith. When it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, you know what? Pin your ears back, go get the guy. And you have not had that. You didn't have that guy last year at all. You had a lot of underclassmen that didn't understand this. I'm talking about the number 1 player in America doing that for you.
Who are you intrigued to see today? For me, it's simple. Zeus. I want to see Zamir White with the running back stable last year and him being a freshman and then the injury. Just a whole lot of wait and see. Now, with what's going on with the running back situation, the mystery situation with DeAndre Swift, this could be a game where he can kind of get his bones and get his axe grinded a little bit, early and be meaningful in his carries. He's a guy that I'm certainly looking forward behind that offensive line to see what he looks like and what kind of damage he can do on the ground.
Here we are a year later, home team. You asked me this same question 1 year ago, and I was like, Justin Fields and D-Rob. And I remember we were doing the game, and Los goes, there goes your boy. And he starts hitting me, and we were doing it while the Georgia game was on, and D-Rob ran that end around, and he took it for a touchdown. That was his only touch of the year. Yep. So I'm going to say the exact same guy. The guy I want to see is D-Rob. I want to see if he can be that Cole, that guy in the slot right there. That's the most. You've got size on the outside, and Joe will talk to this, but you don't have experience, but you've got size on the outside, which is what I want when you're on a one-on-one matchup because everybody's loading the box to slow down whatever you've got.
That slot guy is so important, and if you get half the production of what he did that year in Cal, you would be happy.
He's a 5-star. I've talked to all these recruiting guys, and they say he is the best high school player, the best high school receiver I have ever seen.
My kid's team played him the very first game, went to Savannah and played him. I don't think a kid on our team laid a hand on him.
And he touched the ball one time last year, and people ask why. I think because Kirby didn't see him buying into his system. Well, you know what? You're a year into this program, kid. You got to block downfield. Like, that's the most important thing. You block downfield. We are a physical team first and foremost. This is not the Pac-12. This is not Cal. You don't just lollygag when you're outside. You get physical with these guys.
It's time to show up.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Hoyt. I don't think you're drinking, man, because goodness, you were talking football. Because even when,
don't you ever question my drinking, Joe.
No, Joe, that's just beside it.
But even when you're talking about on the outside, Hoyt, that's why my player I'm going to watch is George Pickens. And I'm not talking about being explosive and he has to have 7 catches for $150. Nope. I'm talking about his impact. Excite the Georgia fans.
That one spectacular catch.
Yes, and be a guy that you can expect a spectacular from, because when I look at him on film, I think he's a game changer. I think he's a special talent. And if you can have that on the field, have a guy 6'5", with talent and athletic ability that he does, it even gets that 8th guy out of the box that way, in the red zone and in a short yardage situation where you can dictate some coverages. I'll be watching George Pickens very closely.
The one guy you have not had Jake Fromm have in his 3 years or going into his 3rd year right now is a guy that can take the top off the defense. And it's weird to say, Cole did that in that national championship against Alabama. Everybody remembers that. I think it was like a 73-yard pass over to Cole. But we're talking about a guy that's 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". Not a guy that's 6'4" and a half that can go up and jump. And Wims was that, but he didn't have the speed to take it off over the top. And if you can get that, if you can get one-on-one coverage, because everybody knows, like, if you're the DC against Georgia, what do you want to do first and foremost?
Stack the box.
Stack the box, stop the run. If I can make you go single outside against me and you go single high safety, and you finally have that threat that can extend the field, dude, that's a win-win. Like, it's a two-front attack that nobody can stop.
Absolutely, Hoyt, and that is what I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see Coach Coley and Jake Fromm execute this year, that even if that's 1st and 10, even if that's 2nd and 3, and you have a run play called, and you look at 8 in the box and the box is stacked, let Jake Fromm and his knowledge and his smarts to be able to check into something that take advantage deep, take advantage intermediate, however you want it, to get it into whoever's eligible. Could you imagine a slot guy 101 or Demetrius Robertson or even a Landers? I want to see that involvement for in the big game, that Jake Fromm He's ready. He's ready to make you guys pay now, not just audibling when, from a run to a run and those type things. That's simple. I'm talking about being gutsy. A little bit more gutsy from Jake Fromm is what I'm looking for.
Well, you and I have talked about this, Joe. I want to see, and this is a weird thing to say because everybody says if Fromm can get his completion percentage into 70%, that's the key number as a college football quarterback. If you can bump up into 70, you are in the elite of the elite. And he's been sitting right on that rung right there. Forget that. Right. I want to see Jake. I want to see you complete more down the field.
Yes.
When we're talking those 15 and over plays, those explosive plays.
The problem ends up being is that so many of these guys that are doing the 70% completion percentage
they're check down guys.
Are throwing 2 yards down the field, throwing the quick hit, throwing all that sort of stuff. Georgia wants to obviously still have a 65, 67% passer, but hit me the downfield stuff.
And take advantage of single high.
And make sure you make people pay when the coverage is there. I've been wondering, and Los, you're masterful with the numbers. If Florida is a sleeping giant, who is the sleeping giant behind Georgia in the SEC? I would just automatically say it would be Florida because defensively they still have talented players. It's about Mullen putting everything together, making sure they can put the complete thing together. Other people would disagree with me. Is it over? Is the Florida we have known the last 15, 17, 20 years, is that regime, is that program over?
Understand this.
She's in jail.
This past draft was the first time since 2011 where Florida did not have a first-round pick.
Oh,
now,
goodness.
the NFL draft is not like the end-all, be-all when it comes to talent because sometimes talent cycles. But here's the problem that ends up happening. When it came to what Will Muschamp was doing when he was over at Florida, and Will Muschamp did not deliver on what Florida fans wanted, but he recruited at a high level. Here were his 3 classes. Third, ninth. Now, here's the problem. The last several years, they've recruited at 12th, 14th, 19th. The issue ends up being is that you don't have the same talent on the field as a team like Georgia has on the field, or Alabama, or whoever else you want to bring up. If you want to talk about the team that's a bigger threat to Georgia in the SEC East, it ain't Florida. It's Missouri. Now, Missouri also can't play with Georgia, but that is a better team than Florida. And Florida fans can bitch and complain and be like, no. They're
pouring a little heavy there in Nashville.
Sloppy. But here's what it comes down to. Here's what it really comes down to.
Wayne Brady gonna
Florida lost at home to Missouri, Kentucky, and then lost on the road to Georgia. So don't tell me that you're ahead of Missouri. Missouri already turned you into their B.
Los, real fast. When you talk about Missouri posing the best threat, or Missouri is a greater threat, than Florida, do you think Missouri has more talent, or they're just a better overall team?
At this point, it's the same talent. And unfortunately, when it came to what Missouri had at the time, they had Drew Lock. And Drew Lock was good enough. When you have a quarterback who is a top 60 pick, a second-round guy, first-round guy, well, then you're going to be able to go and challenge us some defense. The biggest problem for Florida, and we saw this about a week ago, Felipe Franks is a clown. I can't believe that a guy who is so mediocre is then going to the crowd and trying to show off. I'm like, dude, you cannot play this position at a level of other dudes.
And then throws a pick after he just
pick after he shows it off.
And what an indictment of Florida football that you have the same talent as Missouri with that fertile ground.
And that's the problem. Dan Mullen, and a credit to him when he was over at Mississippi State, he was recruiting at an average level where he would have the 15th recruiting class, the 20th recruiting class of the country. At Florida, that dog don't hunt, okay? That ain't going to work the same way. And the problem is that he's bringing in those same class of athletes there. That ain't good enough to play with Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia or anybody else.
Well, I know it's not going to be Tennessee for a while. They are losing to Georgia State right now.
Are they still?
21-17.
Lord. hard.
Up
And see,
in Knoxville.
That's
Go
the guy,
Panthers.
That's the guy that
Boy.
scares me the most, honestly, out of the East is Pruitt.
Oh,
because-
no, it ain't Tennessee. They're not doing the same thing either. They're not doing the same
I
thing
understand, but Pruitt knows the game plan. He's got the Saban blueprint. It's going to take him longer
It's going to
because
take him
Georgia
longer
wasn't there.
because the problem for Tennessee.
But
ultimately,
Fulmer's going to put everything he can into that program because that was his hire, and Pruitt will get everything he asked for.
And I get that, but the problem for Tennessee is that there are not enough good athletes
Out
in
of
the
that state. You're right.
for you to build a program. So you have to recruit nationally and spend the money nationally to go get kids from other areas. The problem ends up being you can go get them from the West Coast, but Kirby, Nick, everybody else has locked down the rest of the SEC. So you're in an issue where you get like, hey, I get the 3-star out of Alabama. Well, I was one of them that Kirby and Nick did not want, so that's who I'm now playing with.
We joked about that Kirby's got to, when he comes into the state, he's got to put a lock on this state. He's got to lock it down and put a border up and build a wall and do the Donald Trump thing or whatever.
But guys, when you guys talk about the SEC, all right,
Yeah.
when you the grand scheme of things in the SEC, and I think I kind of know what your answer is going to be, Hoyt. But when you say it, is it all about the Jimmies and Joes, or does some coaching has to take place? I mean, can you take a 3, a 4, and all of a sudden get over the hump?
Yes, you can.
Joe, let me ask you.
Don't sound so sad calling my name with that, man.
Let me ask you a question. What does everybody complain about in the NBA? At the end of the year, you know the 2 teams or 3 teams that will be playing for an NBA final, right?
Sometimes.
Like, going into every year, we knew the Warriors or or whoever, and that was the boring thing about the NBA. Let me throw this out there, Joe. Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson. I'm going to throw out 5 teams. Did I miss one?
Ohio State.
Did I say Ohio State? Out of those 5 or 6, I guarantee you 3 and or 4 are all in the college football playoff. That's the landscape we're in. You know why? Because the Jimmies and the Joes all go there. Because the blue chip index all points to those guys.
And Hoyt, and everybody you called, every coach you just called, are outstanding coaches.
Forget the coaching part, Joe.
Now you're going to agitate my partner.
No. But
now you're going to agitate the man.
Shows up in the playoff.
What Joe just said, and this is a big factor. I don't care. I think about Mac Brown. Mac Brown is not a good X's and O's coach.
I would
but
agree.
He's a recruiter. And that's the thing. If you can get them to your university, you give yourself an opportunity. I don't care if you're not good on game day. You give yourself an opportunity because of what you do in February
Look what Nick
and
Saban
December.
did last year. Nick Saban built a coaching staff based on recruiting. And Nick Saban ended up getting the #1 class last year because of that. The problem was when he went up against Clemson,
they figured him out.
He didn't have coaches. He had recruiters there that were trying to figure out coaching, and that was his biggest downfall. They out-schemed him more than anything.
Yeah, he
and
got
so
out-coached.
It's nice to have both. When you get to the Final Four in the college football playoffs, yes, coaching matters.
Could you
But
argue
uh,
that the weakest part of Coach Smart's tenure so far has been his coaching, that he's been able to recruit, he's been able to assemble a staff, he's been able to get the most out of how to get the depth chart ready for game day. But you could make the argument that the weakest link in the chain right now is Kirby's coaching in big games, in big moments.
I agree with that, but there are 2 things about Kirby that I love. 1, he has never made the same mistake twice. And 2, everybody forgets this is his first job. He didn't go to Central Michigan. He didn't go to Colorado State. He didn't go anywhere else. He went from D.C. to taking over what a lot of people said at the time was the best head coaching job in the country. And that's a big jump. So you're going to make some mistakes right there from a coaching standpoint. You're going to make them on the field, and that's unfortunate. And he's made them, whether you want to say the punt was a mistake,
yes,
whether you want to say him not having timeout correct against Vandy his first year or whatever.
Fake field goal in LSU is a mistake.
You're right. Those were mistakes. But I will go back to this is something Los and I tell all our interns. I'm cool if you make a mistake. Everybody
Don't do the same
makes a
one
mistake.
twice.
Don't make it twice. And he has not done that to this point twice. And if you're learning on the job, that's just something that comes. I got the best recruiter. I got the best Monday through Friday or Sunday through Friday guy in the country. I may not have the best Saturday guy in the country. I got the best Sunday through Friday guy in the country.
Here's the question. We have the numbers and the data. We're going to let you call the Dogs one more time before you get out of here.
You think I got a voice for that?
Well, you have to give us one more. Take one for the team. Before we get out of here, we're going to have you do it one more time. How are you guys doing in the pocket? We came up on an article this week about how much money you should spend on a date And we got sidetracked because we were trying to figure out what constituted a date. But how much money you should spend on a date is determined by where you are. So, for example, the data from this poll said in the state of Georgia, the average amount of money spent on a date is $121. In Tennessee, the average money spent on a date is $92.
Well, that's because they're going to Waffle House.
That's a big bill.
I'm going to take it IHOP. We're good.
How much money you guys are out if you were to go out after the game and go on a date? How much money do you think would be the right amount to spend?
You know, on our way up, by the way, we listened to y'all segment. So
Yeah,
we heard this on the sports.
Okay.
And we were debating this, and here's the problem with it. So the biggest expenditure when it comes to my wife and I, who have been married for almost 14, 15 years.
Y'all invested.
Babysitting.
That is the biggest thing. Like we'll go out there and we'll be like, you know what? You get a $30 steak. I'll get a $30 steak, and we'll do this. But it still comes down to babysitting. The problem is that for everybody else, like if you're trying to make sure and show the woman that you really care about her, hey, we're just dating, you're not only paying for the really, really nice travel, the really nice food, but then you're having to pay for everything else that goes along with it, like the rubbers. So you're paying a lot more from that standpoint.
It's old school. An old school edition here on College Game Day and the Watch Party here at Sports and Social and from the Valentine in Nashville.
Oh, I don't need those.
Yeah, Los got clips, so he doesn't have to pay for those anymore.
Yeah, they don't work anymore like that.
Well, don't ask anybody for those. They might not know what you're talking about anyway.
But I guess I would say, was it a single man taking a woman on a date, or was
Well,
it
it just said a date. But you could go on a date as a single man. You could go on a date as a husband and wife. And obviously, if it's not a special occasion, it could just be a date. So obviously, if it's your anniversary, you're going to spend more than if it's just a Wednesday night and you guys have a babysitter for the kids.
But if you're single and you're spending up to $200, like I think I saw when you
That's
posted
crazy.
the article, Home Team, it was like $292 or something for
Yes,
New York.
New York City.
If you're not closing the deal, by the way, on $292, you need to just hire a prostitute.
We have
at
so
that
many
point.
No, that just cost of living, though.
Oh, is that what that is?
Well, there should have already been a
women here.
discussion if you're spending $300.
We should bring one of these up here and ask her what she expects to be spent upon after the break.
That should be a good. That would be a good
I
idea.
would like to get that data.
And
Like,
again,
we're-
we all understand this one. Most often in time, us married men, we'll come to an agreement with our wives. What do you want to eat? What do you feel like? And then that might just be a $50 meal, according to what the answer is.
That's how it goes.
But we're here up in Nashville. Like, we bought our tickets. We've been buying drinks or food. The most expensive thing this entire trip will be me having a nanny watch my children for 2 days.
Childcare. Childcare is the biggest thing.
Well, we have one more chance to get one more chance
Oh, here we go.
from the man who can do it like no one else. Hoyt, we're going to ask of you one last time if you'll get up and call the Dogs one last time. What he says, Finer. Finer is the one that makes me laugh.
Man, they respond every time.
He's not going to be able to talk for 2 days.
Again, everybody can do it, but no one can do it like Brian Hoyt, as he calls the Dogs.
What happens if the Georgia Bulldogs wins the national championship?
We're going to have to put him in ICU somewhere. He'll be in an ICU somewhere.
Wow.
Probably holding on to dear life with a smile on his face and a Coach Smart 16 jersey in the ICU unit. When we get back, we'll wrap things up. The Braves have a good series and a big week coming up, and they brought back the man whose nickname is Money. He's back in the A. We'll get to that here on College Football Game Day, live from Sports and Social in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team, Joe Hamilton from the Sports X. Up in Nashville from the Valentine, it's Carlos Medina, Brian Hoyt. This is The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
This is the station of the Dogs.
And into the end zone. Touchdown.
Hey, guys.
Yes, what's up, Rano?
You want to talk to some random girl to end the show?
Smart's press
we need to be careful because we need to be out on time for the Braves.
We got to be out at 6 o'clock, so we got plenty. We'll be back at around 52.
Atlanta's
okay, so yeah, we can. What does she want to do? Just get on the air?
The Fan.
This is Sarah, the Riley Auto
Those
Parts.
folks were Georgia Tech fans.
Yeah, they were.
So I told them we'll be done in 20 minutes. They wanted to.
I'm sorry, say it again.
To take a picture.
No,
I remember. He's got a
he
Bama
had a
shirt on.
Georgia Tech belt,
But he had
right?
a Georgia Tech belt.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, so yeah.
You guys want me to get a random girl, hook her up here?
Just down the
Like,
street, and we were
what do you guys
back on
want?
the road in no time.
It's up to you.
They're thinking down there.
No, they have plenty of.
Oh, they have. Oh,
Women
sorry. I thought you were
who
talking
are-
about here, Sports and Social, Rhino. Sorry.
They've been at it a little longer, too.
Right.
They've been oiled up.
Right. For a while.
90 miles north of downtown Atlanta, the Orchard Golf and Country Club is Habersham County's premier and affordable private
We had
golf
some
and
folks
country
came in here
club.
last year.
Experience the
They
peace
were
and
lathered up
tranquility
pretty
of our
good.
Oh,
championship
dude.
golf
This is the
course.
perfect
Stop at
spot, too,
Breakwater
man.
Grill
I mean, what
for
the Braves have
refreshing
done with the
glass,
battery, this is
signature sweet
unreal
tea,
over here.
Or share a table for dinner. with your
There,
family.
another one.
There's something
Jeez.
for everyone
It's
at
over.
the Orchard Golf and
28-3.
Country Club.
That's it.
The
That's
Orchard
it.
is a
It's a
perfect
knockout
place
blow.
for a
What's the Georgia
corporate
State
retreat,
score
great
again? Home team?
accommodations in our
They were
Orchard
up
Villas,
21-7.
and a wide variety of
Dude,
activities, including
that's huge.
championship
Tennessee.
golf, hiking Cholula Gorge,
On the
and
road
some
in
of the best
Tennessee.
guides and trout
How much
fishing
time?
in the country
Oh,
on the nearby
they're still
Siskiyou
up.
Fourth
River.
quarter yet?
It
Quarter,
simply doesn't
6
get
minutes to
any
go in the
friendlier or
third.
more relaxing
Biggest
than
win in
the
history
Orchard
right
Golf
there.
and
They can
Country
pull it
Club.
off.
Convenient to Lake Raven and Lake Burton.
Okay, so
Schedule a
now we've
visit.
talked about the
Call
Jeremy
706
Pruitt talks,
754
right? I mean,
3156.
I still don't think he's gone, but like that would be a.
3156
Woo.
for the Orchard Golf
Closest
and
win they
Country
had
Club.
was when we went to Wisconsin.
That was yes.
They actually had to put in their third string quarterback. Starting quarterback was messing up. Backup was messing up. They put in the third string quarterback, and he went on a drive the last 6 minutes and put the game away.
Did you do the one where they played Alabama? I think the first year lost like 63-7 or something.
I didn't do the first one. I did the second one.
The second one, okay. How was that atmosphere there?
It was a lot of people, but it wasn't sold out because it was
Georgia State, right.
So a lot of people were there, but they weren't in their seats.
Yeah.
Atlanta, this has been Ingram.
My dad, so when I was younger, saw Dante Culpepper play. So dad, I guess he got his clients or whatever at Alabama tickets, was there. I think it was the Mike DeBose years. And so Dante Culpepper with Central Florida beat Alabama, and the boos in that stadium were Sean Alexander was a running back that year. So this is like 97, 98, right before he got drafted in the NFL. The boos in that stadium were just, you know what I'm saying? Just like the, boo, get him, fire him, you know, and then Franchione came on and all that kind of stuff. But that atmosphere, though, was crazy.
Most local
Put
companies
it to his
do not
brother.
have an engineer on staff.
Say what?
They'll put it to his brother. If you get
To his brother. Oh,
one more
I
score,
forgot
you
they
put him in.
recruited him too. Yeah.
You can
You let him
trust
play.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia.
Give Engineered Solutions.
I'm excited to see Jalen Hurts.
I want to be second string.
ESOG now.
He might not be. Look at their depth chart.
.680 The Fan, college football sports page.
Good afternoon with the Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard. It's me, Rhino.
South Carolina
Some
touchdown.
games underway right now. Jacob Eason, the former Georgia quarterback, has thrown for 349 yards and 4 touchdowns. His number 13, Washington, leads Eastern Washington 45-14. Now Tua Tagovailoa, he's got 259 yards and 3 touchdowns throwing.
Fields and
Number 2,
Eason both
Alabama,
have good
number 2,
seasons.
28-3.
Fields
in
a stud,
third.
man.
Penn State is just picking up where they left off in the first half. In the second half, they've already scored twice. It's 58-0 over Idaho. And number 25, Stanford, leads 10-0 over Northwestern. That game at the half. Another game maybe of interest to you. Georgia State now leads 21-17
Go Panthers, baby.
over the University of
Panthers trying to
Tennessee.
pounce.
And some games from earlier this afternoon. Number 24, Nebraska survives a late scare with a 35-21 win over South Alabama. And Ohio State's Justin Fields throws for 234 yards, 4 touchdowns in a 45-21 rout over Florida Atlantic. With the Georgia United Credit Union College Scoreboard, I'm Rhino, and you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
This is College Football Saturday on 680 The Fan, powered by...
All right, again, we're out at 6. I'll give you a minute.
The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social, keeping you up to speed on all the afternoon college action on the college football voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day. It's the watch party. Week 1 is here, and we are here every week live from Sports and Social. Make sure you stay with us and come into Sports and Social all year long, as we will be registering throughout the year. Folks, a chance to get to the championship game and also be given out a VIP package that will include you viewing the game and getting a $2,000 bar tab. You can only do that if you come to register at Sports and Social all year long here during College Game Day. Home team here. Joe Hamilton here in Nashville as the Dogs get ready to take on Vanderbilt. Brian Hoyt and Carlos Medina live from the Valentine. Nice little establishment that is welcome and entertain, Joe, the Bulldog fans who have come to spend a little money and support their team.
Yeah,
Here we go, Rachel.
the atmosphere is just alarming to me. Boy, they're traveling.
I think we have a new guest. Is there a guest in Nashville?
We got 2 new guests.
Yeah, they're just talking at this point.
Callie and Rachel.
It's Callie and Rachel.
I know them.
Joe Ham, Joe Ham, home team, say hello to Callie and Rachel.
Hi, Callie. Hi, Rachel. How you guys doing?
What's up, Callie? What's up, Rachel?
Howdy.
Which one has the more attractive name, by the way, Callie or Rachel?
I think they're both beautiful names.
Oh, you suck up, you.
Thank you.
All right, so you can ask them any question you want. They've had enough alcohol that they will answer anything.
Wait. What? What?
Who are you guys rooting for today, Georgia or Vanderbilt?
Dogs.
Oh, boy.
Go Dogs.
Oh, boy.
Who's your favorite Georgia player?
Jay Fromm.
Of the 2 guys sitting right in front of you, which one is the more attractive?
Yeah.
I don't know their names. I don't know.
Wait.
Carlos.
Los the ladies' choice. All right.
Finally.
All right.
Carlos.
Oh, my goodness, a chant from Carlos.
I'm going to show them abs after I'm done drinking tonight.
They're like our dads.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
Oh, they
my
dropped the
God.
dad line.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get
Just
this
got
over
real.
here. Well, hey,
You guys don't look as young as you thought y'all did.
you guys, here's the issue you got.
Yeah, go ahead, Daddy Lowe.
The dab abs.
Here's the issue you got. You're just actually attracted to old men, so you got like a bigger issue going.
Oh, boy.
That's
So
okay.
what are you guys doing here for the weekend? Are you just up for the dogs? Just for the dogs.
We're visiting Nashville for the first time ever.
How many people came with you? Was it just you 2, or did you come with friends?
We came with friends.
I came with my fam.
All right, so
she went with her family. I came with my friends.
My brother's
but
in
we
the audience.
We met up.
are you single, or those are your brothers?
We're old college
No.
roommates.
Yeah.
Are you single or
We are
married?
single.
I am single.
Are you with man? You're not.
I not.
with man?
She not.
Not with man.
2 single ladies. Okay.
It's right here.
Single ladies.
So how do we
Single
meet
and ready
men?
to mingle.
How do we meet men nowadays?
That's the $1 million question.
Are you on the
don't.
apps?
You don't.
They
No.
suck. The apps are
Apps are for
horrible.
losers.
Good for you.
Just kidding. I was actually on
No,
one
I was
like,
on it.
for a minute.
The messages you get are just disturbing.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Let me ask you a question. And this is just throwing it out there, being honest. When a guy sends you a picture,
Picture what?
What kind of picture?
you know
That's a
what
good
kind of
follow-up.
picture.
Okay.
When you know what kind of picture. Is that an attractive thing, or are you just like delete?
No, ew.
Do you show your girlfriends that picture?
It depends.
No, I'll just
Like on what?
delete it.
This
Do
has
you
turned
delete
a
it?
different
If it's
direction
good
I thought
or
it was going.
I apologize, Joe Hammond home team, but I got to know these questions.
Ladies, what are you doing when the Dogs win today? Say they win 52-17. The game is
dog
over.
pictures.
The Dogs fans are going to go out. What do you guys plan to do in the city of Nashville once the Dogs get the victory?
He say dog
Tits
fan?
for
I don't
shots.
know. I'm really excited.
Go
It's gonna be fun.
Dogs.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Tits for shots.
I'm excited because we're gonna win. So
That's obvious.
Well, we
They're
thank
very
you
excited.
all
We all
for your
know how
I'm
time.
very
Yeah.
confident. I'm sorry. Can we?
She's so Callie is so over this.
Oh,
right now,
yeah,
too.
she is
Don't
freaked
mind
out by
Callie.
all this.
I don't know if they're going to make it to
Down my
halftime.
She's wondering right now if this is going to influence any future opportunities for her.
What does she want to do? Callie, Rachel, what do you want to do for a living?
Callie, what do
Rachel,
you want to do for a living?
do for a living?
I
I
want to
have
go
a
back to
career.
grad school and be a physician assistant.
They look like they
I'm a
work
nurse.
at
Oh, okay.
tanning salons.
Very cool.
No.
No, you have that look. Like
I
the
work in a
Yeah, it's
dermatology
fake
office.
tan.
I can't be tan.
It's fake. Look, it's fake.
I cannot be tan.
fake and bake.
Yeah.
Is that the way to go?
Fake it till you make it.
Like, what is this? Are we on the radio or television?
You're live in Atlanta right now.
Home team, you
Shut
can ask
up.
her any. Yeah.
No, I'm done
We
with
live
it.
there.
I wish her
My
well.
name's-
I
You
want
live
them
in
to get into the
Atlanta?
game
Yeah.
and get out safely.
I don't
Just like we need to do this segment. We
God
need to-
bless you. Thank you.
Have
wanna
fun,
take a-
ladies.
Thank you.
Say
Go
bye,
Dogs.
ladies.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies.
All right, there you go. So we have some information how
Oh,
young
boy.
people like to party, what they like to do afterwards, what they plan on doing when they finish school, what they think about the radio man. They think Carlos Medina is an attractive radio host.
No,
and,
no, they said father.
Oh no, I'm apparently in my 30s.
Dad.
I'm like, I've had it.
I can swallow.
Quickly before we get out, a couple of news and nuggets. Braves taking on the White Sox. You hear all the action here on the Fan. 680 93.7 FM. Looking for a sweep. Need a little better work from the bullpen, but we've been through that before. Matt Bryant returns to the A as the Falcons eat crow, and they go and make the offer. He signs the deal today. Matt Bryant will be the kicker for the Falcons week 1 in Minnesota.
Home team, you feel better today as a Falcons fan than you did 2 days ago?
I wish Giorgio Tavecchio well. The only way I want to see him in Mercedes-Benz Stadium is if he kicks for another team or if he's with a Falcons rep getting a PSL. I have had enough of him missing field goals. By the way, his last field goal attempt as a Falcon in preseason, he missed it.
How much does the age worry you at this point, though?
It is a point of concern, which is why the Falcons decided to move forward. You know, there were a couple of games where Matt Bryant had his hammy, wrapped up like a ham sandwich.
Yep.
And hopefully he'll be okay. Hopefully things will work out. And hopefully he will not have to be injured. But I will take his misses, and I can tolerate his misses more so than I can Giorgio Tavecchio.
Here's what I'll say, home team. Your brown liquor is safe. I was worried about your brown liquor. If it was Giorgio Tavecchio in that final minute and he was having a kick, I was very worried about your brown liquor supply.
Well, I'll sit and wait sometimes. When I'm really sad at a Falcons game, I'll just sit and wait for the post-game presser to be done.
But now that you got money, Matt, I feel much better about your liquor supply.
We all feel better, and that will do it for college game day, the watch party.
Have fun, guys.
Sports and
I
social.
love
Y'all be safe up there. Have a good time and be safe for real.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this. This is awesome.
Love you guys. Shout out to Carlos Medina, Brian Hoyt. Want to say thanks to Rhino, Will here on site, Mike Oran keeping us going on the stream. And we will get ready for Braves baseball here on the Fan, 680 93.7 FM.
We are the official sports talk station.
Thanks, Rhino.
of your Georgia Bulldogs. WCNN North Atlanta.